Hello, I'm Mr. Mir.
Peace, family. I hope all is well. Listen, before we started the show, my microphone wasn't plugged up. I just noticed my microphone wasn't plugged up. But everyone, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I hope you're having an excellent Friday. Listen, I got exciting news. We are leaving for Sierra Leone on Sunday, and I am looking forward to it. It is going to be awesome. I cannot wait. It's going to be an awesome time. We're going to have so much fun. It's going to be great, you guys. It's going to be great. We're going to have an awesome time. Hold on. Let me get my Sierra Leone passport. Hold on. I got about 20 folks. I'm taking to get their Sierra Leonean passports, y'all. I got about 20 folks. And it's going to be a beautiful moment. You know, listen, all the footage is going to be put up here on the page, so you guys stay tuned. We're going to eat good. Sierra Leone has the best lobster in the world, so we're going to get some lobster dinner, some real lobster. None of that cheap red lobster stuff you guys eat. We eating real lobster, okay? Real African lobsters. All right, that's what we're eating, okay? And I'm just looking forward to it, you know, seeing everybody's smiling faces, seeing everybody excited and catching them in the moment when they get their passports, taking the photos, you know, because I'm the cameraman. I'm the cameraman / tour operator, you know. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. So we're rolling to Sierra Leone on Sunday. Listen. If you're a last minute person and say you want to roll to Sierra Leone, hit me up. I mean, if you want to come, hit me up. Shout out to Fitzgerald Stevens, our brother from another mother who's in the chat room, whose Alabama Crimson Tide will not be playing in the SEC championship. But my Georgia Bulldogs will be there, though. Again, my Georgia Bulldogs are going to play like real African lobsters, Kyle. That's what we're getting. Real African lobsters, okay? I don't know what they eat here in America, but them African lobsters be big. Like real, non-GMO, fresh from the Atlantic Ocean, African lobsters. That's what we eating on come next week. So we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna have an awesome time. I'm just looking forward to it. I'm just so blessed that, you know, 20 people. I think I'm taking like 22 people. Yeah, Delina. Well, Delina, you could have came, Delina, but you know, you had some stuff going on. But you could have came. You could have came and got you some real African lobsters. No, Delina, don't worry. That means more lobster for me. So, Delina, I'm going to eat your lobster, okay? I'm going to eat your lobster. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat your lobster, okay? That's what I'm going to do for you, Delina. And it's going to be so good. Listen, Delina, I'm all on your lobster. It will taste better in April. Okay. Delina mad. Yeah, dude, I'm in your lobster. I'm your lobster. So that's what we're doing. We leave Sunday. I am so excited about heading out. We're going to have a great time. Awesome time. You know. And everybody, Fitzgerald Stevens, I'm still going to be in Sierra Leone, December 6th. I'm annoying. Delina, do we got to pray for you, Delina? Hold on, Delina. Do we have to pray for? I think we got to pray for Delina. I think we got to pray for Delina here. She's talking about I'm annoying. Just because I'm going to have some African lobster and you not. Is that why I'm annoying, Delina? Because I'm going to eat me some fresh African, real big lobster and you not. You going to eat that lobster, that fake lobster from Red Lobster. Is that why I'm annoying? I can't be great and eat lobsters, Delina. I can't be great. You gonna rain on my parade, Delina? Is that what we're doing now, Delina? You gonna rain on my parade? Delina, listen. After I eat my lobsters, I'm gonna send the video straight to you. All right, I'm gonna send you the videos, Delina. Hold on. In fact, Delina, I got something for you, Delina. Hold on, let me show you these lobsters. Hold on. I got something for you, Delina. Hold on. I got something for you. I got something for you, Delina. Here we go. Here we go, Delina. Hold on. I got something for you. Hold on. We're going to share this with Delina, everybody. Since Delina got an attitude, we're going to share this with Delina. Hold on. Since you got an attitude, Delina. Hold on. Here we go. Since Delina got an attitude, we got something for you. This is what you're missing out on right here. This is what you're missing out on. Since you got an attitude.
And Missy Elliott. Ain't nothing fucking with Kim though. So Kim got better. Got better body of work. Lil Kim, I like Lil Kim. I know. All right, so here at river number 2 in my group because I had other things to do. Y'all gonna miss out on this lobster. Man, this lobster looks delicious. Look at this lobster. Look at this.
Look at that lobster, Delina. Look at that lobster. Look at that delicious lobster, Delina. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Hold on. We ain't done yet. We ain't done yet.
To oh my god. Next time, I said to you, say, man.
I've already seen this right now. Oh my god. I'm gonna make a change for me.
Oh my god. Fresh lobster.
Oh, yes.
Delina, listen, when I say that coconut rice was the best rice, some of the best rice I've ever had, Delina, that coconut rice was so good, Delina. So good. That coconut rice right there with that lobster. Oh my God, Delina. Oh my God, Delina. And listen, Delina, I'm gonna eat plenty of it just for you. Just for you, Delina. I'm gonna eat plenty of it. But guys, listen. I need you to go to searchforuhuru.com. I need you to go to searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. Okay, if you have not bought the documentary yet, I need you to go to searchforuhuru.com and please support and buy the documentary. Shout out. Oh yeah, AJ Niger came with us. Best lobster ever. There you go. Bam. Delina, I bet you your coconut rice isn't as good as that coconut rice we had. Best lobster ever. There we go. Confirmed. So guys, do me a favor. Go to searchforuhuru.com and make sure you buy the documentary. Also, if you want to join us on other tours and eat delicious food. Again, if you want to join us on other tours and eat delicious food, please Danfo, DANFO .Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, DANFO.Africa. Listen, we're rolling to Senegal in May. If you're interested in joining us in Senegal, again, if you're interested in joining us in Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival, please go to Danfo.Africa. Really appreciate it. Let's jump into today's topic. All right. So we've had, I guess it'd be considered 4 high-profile deaths in Mexico. Okay. And even before that, we had the death of Malcolm X's grandson in Mexico. And in between that, we have had a number of Black people who have died or been murdered in Mexico. But Black folks are still flocking to Mexico, still going. No question, with the cartels, with everything that's going on. Black folks are still flocking to Mexico. But when it comes to Africa, again, when it comes to Africa, I still am being asked if it's safe. Again, when it comes to Africa, I'm still being asked if it's safe. J.R. Meadows, lobster. So I don't listen. Shrimp, lobster. I don't care that it's called the roaches of the sea. Them roaches are good. Okay. I don't care if they're bottom feeders. I don't care if they're considered the roaches of the sea. Them roaches are the best tasting water roaches ever. And in Sierra Leone, they got the best water roaches, the best lobster ever. So I don't care. Like, I don't care. It's delicious. So listen, I'm eat JR, I'm eat your lobster, and I'm eat Delina's lobster. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm eating all y'all's lobster. Okay. No, watch what happened. I saw what happened. But again, just all these incidents that are happening in Mexico amongst Black people are still flocking to go to Talum, whatever it's called, Talum, right? No questions asked, they're going. But when it comes to Africa, I'm still being asked, Dynas, is it safe? And I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. And I tell people, the majority of Africa is safer than the cities that you're currently residing in. Yeah. The majority of Africa is still safer than it's more likely safer than the city you live in. I'm in Atlanta. All types of wild stuff goes on here in Atlanta. Hey, listen, I've been to Mexico. I've been to Cancun. I've only been to Cancun. But the thing is, I've been to Mexico, but I haven't been to Mexico because I never left the resort. So the resort we stayed in Cancun, no, I never left it. And the thing is, man, these resorts, the food be nasty. Somebody says, Diners, Negroes always talk crap about food, but will still smoke weed, take pills, and drink all day. Yeah, how you a vegetarian, but you smoke Bammer weed? You know, like you're a vegan, but you smoke low grade weed. But you're a vegan and a vegetarian. But you smoke low grade Bammer GMO purple Kush super flame and eat super flame super cushed out brownies. Like I never, but listen, that's neither here and there. That's none of my business. Listen, my thing is, if you are vegan, if you are vegetarian, you gotta let that go when you get to Africa, because the food is just too good, man. Like you missing out on all this good food because you want to be vegan and vegetarian. Now I can understand if you have like certain dietary issues. All right, I get it. But man, you missing out on all. Like I can understand if you don't want to eat the trash in America. I get it. If you don't want to eat the trash in America, I get it. But when you get to Africa, man, you got to let that vegan, vegetarian stuff go, man, because the food is just too good. The food is just too good. You got to leave that vegan, vegetarian stuff at home, or have a cheat day or a cheat week. The food is off the chain. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Again, please hit the like button as you come to the chat room. Once again, hit the like button. And also, guys, make sure if you have not subscribed to our brother Brandon Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, make sure you go and subscribe to his channel. Again, make sure you go and subscribe. Diane, is weed supposed to heal us? Remember, I don't know. But guys, make sure you go subscribe to Brother Brandon's channel at Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. And then we also got our brother Hustle Smart, the Simp Police. the Simp Police. You know, our brother. Here we go. Hustle Smart got a 6-hour stream on here. For when he got his African ancestry results. Hold on, y'all. Let's pull it up real quick. Let's pull it up. Real quick. So guys, make sure you subscribe to Hustle Smart. Let me share the screen real quick. 6-hour super stream of when he hold on. When he found out his DNA results. Shout out to Hustle Smart, y'all. There we go. So, guys, make sure you go to the Simp Police and subscribe. The Simp Police Academy. Simp Police Academy is right there. And make sure you subscribe to his channel. And then shout out to Brother Brandon at Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. Go holler at him. I think he's live right now. Yeah, Gary John, you said the young women, you said the sister was killed by the women she was with. Yeah, that's unfortunate. On camera. Who called me a simp? Oh, Tassi. No, hello, simp. He's talking to the Simp Police Academy. So, yeah, guys, don't be afraid. Go and travel to Africa. It is a beautiful continent, the most beautiful continent on the planet with the most beautiful places and destinations on the planet. Do not be afraid to go. She was holidaying. Okay, the black FBA girl that was killed in Mexico, appears that she was set up by her so-called friend she was holidaying with. It was a trans was filming her being beat to death. I think it was. Yeah, I think the girl was a dude. But I mean, you guys gotta understand, like these days, like you have a lot of sisters that hang out with, you know, LGBTQ men. Like that's just what they do. And transvestite, you know, they just all hang out together and go everywhere together. So that's just the norm now, I guess. So yeah, I travel to Africa. Come enjoy Africa in all its beauty, in all its glory. Listen, we're gonna take a couple callers. If you want to call in, please call in. Then we had the situation where the three people there was, in fact, let's pull up the article real quick. Hold on, let's pull up the article. Let's pull this up real quick.
We're going to turn now to the growing mystery surrounding the death of an American tourist vacationing with friends in Mexico. Shanquella Robinson's family says they were told she died of alcohol poisoning, but an autopsy revealed a severe spinal cord injury. Victor Oquendo has the latest. Good morning to you, Victor.
Good morning, Juju. That autopsy report leaving this family desperate for answers. Mexican authorities are investigating, but as of right now, no one has been named a suspect.
And for this to happen to her is just terrible. You know, I just couldn't believe it. It's like I'm still asleep, like a nightmare.
Shanquella Robinson's family is demanding answers this morning after the 25-year-old was found dead at a luxury resort in Mexico.
My heart just like it went into pieces. Shanquella was my heart.
Robinson from Charlotte, North Carolina, was traveling with 6 friends late last month. The trip quickly turning into a murder mystery now at the center of an international investigation. Authorities finding her body less than 24 hours after she arrived inside the living room of a rental villa in the vacation hotspot of San Jose del Cabo. Robinson's friends first telling her parents she died from alcohol poisoning, but the autopsy report obtained by ABC News lists her cause of death as severe spinal cord injury and dislocated neck.
They called us from the funeral home that done the autopsy that had her body and said that it had nothing to do with alcohol, that Shanquella had been beaten.
We're only showing images from this video posted on social media because it's so graphic. It allegedly shows Robinson being attacked by another woman while a man records the fight and urges her to defend herself, but doesn't stop the assault. The video ends with Robinson on the ground with that other woman taunting her. Mexican investigators are looking into the video. When Robinson's friends called police, they said she was unresponsive. 15 minutes after officials arrived, she was pronounced dead. Those friends returning to the U.S. without her.
We never believed what they was telling us because each one that came back was telling a different story.
Mexican law enforcement say they were investigating the death as a femicide, a form of gender-based violence. The U.S. State Department pointing to Mexican authorities for answers, telling ABC News they're providing assistance to the family.
Somebody need to stand up for her. Somebody that was there videoing need to stand up for her.
people who were on the reservation for that room, and Robinson's family says that authorities here in the U.S. are now speaking with everyone on it. Juju, there are still so many questions here.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking.
RIP to the sister Shanquella. Philip says Black Americans have serious problems in Black culture. This whole thing this whole thing is off. Again, Black Americans have serious problems in Black culture. This whole thing is off. See, I'm gonna tell you what's not gonna happen though. All right, the Mexican authorities and the Mexican government is not gonna allow y'all to turn Tulum and all these other resort spots in vacation spots in Mexico that Black folks are going to. They're not going to allow y'all to turn that into Black Bike Week and Black Beach Week. They'll shut that down. Okay, they're going to shut that down. Oh yeah, going to Colombia too. The men going to Colombia getting robbed. Yeah, Malcolm X's grandson was murdered in Mexico. But Philip, you're a lawyer, Philip, and I know you can't you can kind of give legal advice, but in fact, Philip, call in. Philip, you got to call in. Philip, I got a question for you, Philip. You got to call in. You got to call in, Philip. Guys, Philip is our resident lawyer, so I got some questions. And Philip, we're not going to hold you to it, but I got some questions, Philip. You got to call in. I got a couple of questions for you. Philip, you got to call in, Philip. I got some questions. Yeah, I think they shut down Black Beach Week. Yeah, they shut all that down. They shut down Freaknik, Black Beach Week. Yeah, they shut all that down. But Philip, you gotta call in, Philip. I got a legal question for you. Okay, give me a second. So y'all, but the link, guys, click on the link if you want to call in. Again, click on the link if you want to call in. I'm glad Philip is calling in because, again, that's our resident lawyer, him and Abube. We got two resident lawyers, okay? Philip and Abube. But, guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button and click on that link if you want to call in. Yeah, I miss Freaknik. I never experienced a Freaknik. Yeah, they're in Colombia. They're equal opportunists. They rob and kill everybody. But still, people still congregate to these places, no matter what, no matter how high the crime is, no matter people getting set up. I mean, there was in fact, in Colombia, there was a story of these women who were going around drugging men, setting them up, stealing all their stuff. But brothers are still going to Colombia. But then when it comes to Africa, is it safe? Is it safe? They said that she, here we go. Here comes Philip. Philip, our resident lawyer, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I was working.
I know you were. Listen, I'm glad I could distract you for about 10 minutes. We need your expertise here.
Okay, I'll do the best I can. What you got?
Okay, so have you seen the actual video of the girl being beat up by her friend?
I have not yet. I just heard about it. Go ahead.
Okay, so that took place in Mexico. They lied and said that she died of alcohol poisoning or drank too much alcohol. That's what the friend said. But the autopsy says that it was a spinal cord injury.
Correct.
And there's literally video of her getting beat up by her friend, which probably led to the death in Mexico.
Yep.
So can the U.S. authorities charge the friend for the assault since it's on video, even though it took place in Mexico?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they can long arm it. What has to happen is that there's going to be an investigation in Mexico, and then a decision will be made as to what court is best to hear the matter, right? So there'll probably be a request from, is she from Texas? Where? No,
I think North Carolina.
Okay, so they will the proper authority in North Carolina will probably make a request for that case to be remanded for venue to North Carolina. The issue is it may not be the proper venue. And then we're going to run into something actually very interesting, which is Mexico is a civil law country and we're a common law country. So here's where it may get sticky. If you recall that the friends call and say, you know, they gave their narration of what happened, right? But assumedly there will be witnesses at the resort that saw them go in. All of the people who arrived on the site, those assumedly would be Mexicans, right? Many of whom are probably not English speakers. So I could see an argument where Mexico would say, no, we're the proper venue to adjudicate this. And then, you know, we'll have to look at what the final, like for the sentencing or so on. In other words, Mexico would have to give up jurisdiction to the United States for them to try to adjudicate it. And I can see some problems that the American authorities would have because a lot of the facts are in Mexico, right? So there'd be some sort of cooperation between the State Department and the Mexican authorities.
That's interesting. So
it is.
There could be a possibility where they get off.
Oh, I think that's doubtful. I didn't say that. That, and actually, their situation is much tougher because Mexico is under the Napoleonic Code, so it's a civil code country, and in those countries, that the presumption of innocence is slightly different, and basically, depending on how you view that, it is it's going to be sticky. It's going to be sticky because, and I'll just give an example. Now, I didn't go to court when I lived in Mexico because I was much younger then, but I did go to court in France. And France is obviously a Napoleonic civil code country. When they do that, you've got a prosecutor that's basically given an investigation from their police department, and the presumption is that investigation is right. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's different than our common law courts in the United States, which are based on the English courts, that the presumption is of innocence, right? Although even the English courts, which I've also been there, and you know, been with the barristers there, that this could be disastrous for these young people, depending on what facts come out.
Disastrous how? I mean,
man, because as I said, it's a civil. If it gets adjudicated in Mexico, and that's a civil law country, the presumption is it's not that you're guilty, but that there's a lot of weight given to the investigative body or bodies that's given to the prosecutors there. So that it's not that you're presumed necessarily guilty, but the weight that that the conclusions of the police departments and what's given to the judicial body that prosecutes, it's heavier. Do you understand what I'm saying? We get it from the police department here, right? And in theory, it's objectively viewed against whatever investigation.
Okay, so Philip, are you saying that the friends, they went back to America? If they have, I guess, a trial in Mexico, they can have them extradited back to Mexico to go to prison?
It might. It depends on what they're going to do. And I think that this is interesting because we don't know what the full facts are yet. We don't know how much interaction with the death site did these people have? Because I'm thinking witnesses, I'm thinking the forensics, that's going to be all from Mexico. Now, probably the FBI will assist. State Department officials will probably go. Somebody from the appropriate county in North Carolina, where she's from, will probably go, particularly since it's been covered in the media. But yeah, it could happen. It could happen that the trial actually happens in Mexico. It's not automatic that it would be brought back here, but for the reasons that I said.
So with all this going on, Philip,
Yes.
the image of Black folks, you know, in Mexico and Colombia and all these other places. Hold on. Well, hopefully this doesn't go dead on, man. It's going.
Yeah.
I had a plug. Let me plug my charger up. Hold on.
Now do your thing.
And they see this.
Yep.
And it's the front. They're all friends. It's obviously they're staying in the same hotel room.
Yep.
Because they said all their names are on the reservation. So I'm guessing they're probably all in the same hotel room.
I heard that this young lady who died actually paid for some of them to be there.
I wouldn't be.
It's actually worse than what it looks like. That she actually was a business owner of a hair salon or a nail shop, something like that, and she paid for some of these guests that were there with her.
Guys, so somebody call in who that's why they took her to Mexico so they could get away with it. Oh, that was a man beating them. Okay, so yeah, cause I know they said there was a transvestite or sexual? I forgot what's the trans.
Well, there was a transsexual that filmed it. I don't know
who filmed it, not who assaulted her.
Yeah, it's been unconfirmed about the woman who was fighting with her. I haven't heard definitively that she was indeed a transsexual. We don't know. From the picture, I could not tell. So, of the assumed defendant. Go ahead.
Okay. Guys, if you know the story, the background of the story,
yeah,
do me a favor. Click on the link and call in. Again, if you know like the backstory, anybody knows the backstory, do me a favor. Click on the link and call in, because that part you just said, as far as her paying for the man. So this is probably like jealousy and.
Yeah, I suspect they all went to apparently the same college together, HBCU. I forget.
So these are college students.
They are. They're graduates. They're graduates of a HBCU.
It's just you would never think. It's weird, Philip, but you're older than me. You would never think that college professionals at their college would participate in behavior like this.
I would agree with you. That's why I made the comment that, there are real cultural issues that we've got to address. I mean, this was the commentary that I had about it, just as an onlooker, not as an attorney. And I watched Angry Man did a long thing on it last night, so that's how I had some of the information. That the first thing is this whole thing of girls' trips, and that these young women who are all college graduates apparently wouldn't be taking a trip with their husbands as opposed to what they were doing.
Philip, you brought up a great point. If the sisters could call in, I want sisters. I got a question, sisters, because as men, we're not as obsessed with men's trips the way women are with these girls' trips. And when do you outgrow that?
Well, I think it's a bigger issue that your show is the perfect venue to deal with this, which is we've already talked about the data, and we know Black women to Black men after age 30 are 5 to 1. So you have this situation where, and we can see it all around us, where there are lots of Black women without mates through no necessarily fault of their own or Black men. It's a demographic problem. And so now what do they do to socialize? They don't have husbands. If they want a Black male husband, the competition is long and deep. And so they go and socialize with their friends. I don't blame them for that. But why I say your show is the perfect venue, from my standpoint, and I could be totally wrong, many of the Black women, Black American women, need to consider marrying African men, because that's where the men are. We're not going to be able to make up that ratio of 5-to-1 at this point. You know, our birth rate is not going to explode like that to fix that. So what do? You have to go, if you want a Black male mate, to where the Black men are. And that's Africa or Brazil or, you know, Colombia on some level, you know, where there are more Black men. Just because the economics don't dictate you're going to be able to find a mate. And that, to me, is part of the story of the girl trip, is that this has been the accommodation to ignore what the demographic problem is. Go ahead.
Man, the reason why I asked that, Philip, they'll pass it to T.
Yeah.
Is like me when I travel on my own. Like I get on the plane, I'm out. But and this is not, and guys, I just, you know, I'm glad Black Beauty is on, a woman. I'm glad she's on. But a lot of times when I'm talking to sisters in regards to coming on the trips, it's always, well, let me see if my girlfriends want to come with me. And I'm just like you're grown. Like,
when we've adapted a culture where Black women have been put in a situation that's different than Black men. And it goes from the 70s forward, where they have gone to college more often. They have access to resources more often, and their lifestyle is different, not completely apart from Black men, but certainly what, you know, you have to have resources to go on vacation, Dinah. You got to have resources to go to Africa, right? So, you know, this is the thing, that this stuff keeps showing up of like, look, we're trying to work around hard numbers. And the hard numbers are 1 in 3 Black males between the age of 18 and 25 are somewhere in the felony arrest system, either arrested, in jail, or out of jail on probation. That's your primary marriage age Black guys. Then,
hold on.
yeah.
Phil, I'm so sorry, Phil, for interrupting.
No, do your thing, brother.
All right, Keisha said it's mainly
I don't want to dominate the time.
No, Keisha in the chat room says it's mainly for protection purposes. You'll have a friend to make sure you're good and vice versa. When I'm in Africa, I see these white women backpacks by themselves.
Well, I
don't hear the I gotta see my girlfriends want to come with me when it comes to other races of women.
Well, I would agree with that. And I would say you would really be protected if you had a Black male with you. Instead of your girlfriend, if you had your husband, you know, or your boyfriend at a minimum, I think that's a stronger protection than your girlfriend. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. T, go ahead, T.
Yeah, man, I just don't like lecturing to women about, you know, having a man and all that, because the thing is, in the West, you have to understand the dynamics. If, you know, women, if they talk to men, you're going to have to be a financially capable guy. And if a lot of men are meeting that standard, it's not going to happen. And that's just biology. So in the West, when you have the women's rights movement and the women getting paid equal or better to men, it is going to create a dynamic where if a man is not meeting that woman's standards, you know, she's probably not going to get with them. And that's just Western culture that we have to deal with. It doesn't matter how much you guys keep saying, you know, we had Kevin Samuels talk like that. That's never going to change until the economic dynamic change. So I think we are wasting our time talking about that. It's never going to change, and we have to just leave it at that. When it comes to the incident that happened to the sister, it's just typical, because I'm like, of course it would be us. You know, sadly I saw the video, and it's just like I questioned myself, why would you travel with people who you're not even cool with? That was weird to me, because I know if I ever travel with family or like my homeboys, and we're all cool, and one of us get into a fight, we're not recording it. We're going to break it up. We're going to say, bro, chill, man, chill. But in this circumstances, that girl was being egged on to fight back. So I found that to be incredibly weird that you are traveling with people who don't like you. And then on top of that, we also have to take into the dynamic of Mexico. Mexico is the wild, wild west, man. Their law enforcement is nowhere like ours. The cartels are very powerful. And there are videos of people getting, heads chopped off and a lot of gruesome things happen in Mexico. So some part of me thinks that the Mexican lack of enforcement of crime was taken to an effect where that girl sadly could be killed in a country like that and nothing happens. I honestly think, in my opinion, after watching that video, that some of those guys, whoever was with her, did something to her and took advantage of that. And also in Mexico, you can hire hitmen. It's crazy. I don't know how prevalent hitmen are in the United States, but I know in South America, they are prevalent. You can easily hire a hit like that because those people are desperate for money. So, overall, I mean, what I can see in this looking from the outside in is that, first of all, Black people, man, we really, I don't see no unity thing when we egg each other on to fight each other. And sadly, it even is not just a man thing. Sadly, even it comes across for our women because our women are masculine. I'm like, they are fighting like dudes. And then it's like we don't have love for our people where we chill, break it up. We egg it on, and then we record it, and then we upload it so the world can laugh at how dumb we look. So it's a multitude of things. The culture has to be looked at, and it doesn't matter if that woman traveled with a group of guys or not. If the Black people that she was traveling with had a childlike mentality, she was still going to end up in the same situation she did.
Let me read this this comment. I have Jackie Black Beauty answer it. Black women have been subject to so much assault, racial discrimination, and prejudice. We've been taught to always pair up, do things in a group. But I don't see that from the men because I mean, go ahead and answer that question, Jackie. What are your thoughts on that statement?
What the Black? Oh. I mean, man, the thing is, those are hard to answer because I can't speak as a woman, but when I just look at how laws are in the United States and who kind of has more leniency when it comes to Black men or Black women, I kind of see Black men taking the L on that. I don't see the prejudices, to be honest with you. In fact, I see a lot of catering towards Black women. I mean, you can even look at the last election that we had, the Democrats, they make specific promises directly towards Black women and elevating them in the workplace, which, like I said, I don't really care. I don't have a problem with, but that does show us some sort of power. And then, you have your president saying, when I become president, I'm going to specifically elect a Supreme Court justice who is a Black woman. That is showing caterance directly towards Black women. Like I said, fine, but that's just how it is. He elects a Black, well, quote unquote, Black female vice president. So it's just, it's kind of hard to see these prejudices because, man, you can't even say anything about Lizzo. She's a Black woman and look what she promotes. But if you say something about her, if you comment on how she looks, if you talk about her weight, you're going to get canceled, especially if you have money. So it's like you can't really correct these behaviors. So I don't know where this prejudice is coming from.
So I think I'm going to make the comment. My name is Jackie, so I definitely want to make sure that I speak when I'm spoken to, right? So I think that we're having the wrong conversation entirely. I understand where T. Khalik is coming from. And if this were a woman bashing session today, we would go that route, right? But I think what we need to talk about is we need to talk about the jealousy in our community, because that's really what's at play here. Because if you ask me, I've been on girls' trips. That the age that Shanquella is, that's the appropriate time for a girl trip. Because when I stopped taking girl trips, Dinus, stopped taking girl trips around 24, 25. You usually do that when you get your first couple jobs right after college and y'all finally have enough money to get on a plane together. So to be honest with you, she was in the appropriate age. She wasn't a 35-year-old woman on a girl's trip. She was like 25 or 26 or 27, something like that. So that's not the right conversation to be having. The conversation to be having is you're too bad mind. The people in this country, they don't respect themselves. And then what happens is if you have something and you're in the community, they will attach with you for opportunistic reasons, right? So that they can go to Mexico on your dime. But then when it comes down to actually being a real friend to you, they look at you and they think that bitch thinks she better. But the reality is Shanquella was better. She was so better that she paid for 2 of you bitches to go on the fucking trip. So the reality is that what the conversation here is jealousy amongst our community and how we cannot even come together to go on a girl's trip that one woman is paying for. It's not about her. It's not about a girl's trip. It's about the fact that she was there with people she should have never been with. So what I would like to say is from you get invited from a trip, and when you get invited to a trip and somebody tell you that you have to pay for them, that's when you decide that you can't go. So I think that's the first mistake she made. Shanquella, you work too hard for your money to be paying these jealous broke bitches to go on some trip with you. You should have took the one person who could afford it to go and left them other suckers in the back. That's really what the conversation is. Because the people that killed her, I guarantee, the gorilla that beat her, I guarantee she was the brokest one on the trip. And the Chico stick that was filming, I guarantee he didn't have not $1 in his fucking pocket. So that's the real conversation. You need to start hanging out with people that are like-minded and the people that are at your level. You will never I'm an only child, so I grew up a certain kind of way. My mom had a lot of girlfriends that had kids that were my exact age, and they were kind of like sisters to me. But one thing my grandma always told me was they're not your family. So the reality is the reality. Shanquella, they're not your family. And they didn't like you, and you knew it. And you still paid for them. And that's the problem. It has nothing to do with girls' trip. I've had so many beautiful girls' trips. So many nice ones. And that's the time to do it in your young and mid-20s. I just think we got to ease up on the Black woman narrative because this is not about that. Everybody on that trip was Black.
Well, if I can say something here, Black Beauty, and I appreciate your point. And to T. Khalik's point, I have 2 sisters, and I'm not categorically against Black women going on trips together. Although I will tell you, I have heard that many of those trips end in some sort of argument between the women on the trip. But I think your root point of there was an imbalance there of she had more wealth than the other people that were on the trip, and that inherently created a jealousy point.
Yes.
I think there's something to be said there.
That is exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is part of the imbalance is, look, the country is built in a way where a man and a woman put their money together and they stack. That's how it's built. So our tax code reinforces that. Our social mores reinforce that. If that's what you do, then your money will be okay. But if you don't do that, then you run into these other things of having to extend credit and to try to figure out how to do it, and you don't have the money. And this is what seems to have been the case there. And so from my standpoint, this is a cultural problem that T. Khalik is saying is insolvable. And I'm saying, well, I don't know that we should accept that as insolvable, but maybe culturally we got to move in a different direction. And I'll let you guys respond.
If we don't accept it as insolvable, which I agree with you, because to me, I don't really see the real, like, I understand that there are cultural imbalances in terms of the demographic of women to men, and we can go ahead and exaggerate that point, but I don't think that's the point here, and we have to speak apple to apples, right? So the reality is, the girl was in this particular situation, because that's what we're talking about, right? We can expound upon a community situation if we want to, but that's not what we're addressing. We're addressing Shanquella. In this particular instance, this young lady should have made a decision that was more based on self. And that's the reality. She should have said, hey, I worked too hard to be paying for these people. And she just said, you know what, I'm gonna sit this one out.
It just, to me, it's just weird because, like I said, how do you travel with people that you're not cool with like that? That's just very weird to me. I just cannot see myself traveling with people who I barely know, that if I get into a fight, they're gonna sit back and watch. I mean, because when you're traveling,
they barely know, right? Because she known them for 10 years. They all went to school. They've known each other since kids, and they all went to the same HBCU, which is Morgan State or something. I don't know the HBCUs. I went to Hunter. But the reality is the reality. They know each other from school. Those are the people you're supposed to be able to trust. Those are the people, like, she's not in the wrong. Those are the people you're supposed to be able to trust. All right? So she didn't know how much they didn't like her. And this is the thing. When you start getting paper, and this is one thing I noticed as a young Black woman, I get paper. That's one thing about Jackie. I get paper. So I don't hang out with girls that have a problem with me getting paper. I don't have time for your drama. I don't have time to handhold you because you can't buy what you want to buy, because you can't go on these trips that I go to, because you can't travel the world every day like I do. That's not my fucking problem. That's what we have to start teaching people in our community. Like needs to be around like. Sweetheart, you could have had some better friends that you could have gone with. Like needs to be around like. We got to start separating in this Black community. Shanquella should have never been with them. They was not on her level.
Well, I agree with that. And most of the time, when I see these Black girl trips, or the ones that my sisters have gone on, all of the girls are in a similar economic station, and that makes this trip different.
Yes.
I will say this, though, and that is, I just in my mind, as I was listening to you both, tried to think of any other culture of women where this scenario would happen, meaning that there's an issue within Black American culture about violence and about beating each other that is different. When I thought through my mind, if this was a group of Latina women, do we get this outcome? Maybe. If this is a group of Asian women or Arab women, do we get this outcome?
Well, I know I've been to the Jersey Shore and I done seen a lot of scrappy Italian bitches.
Sure, but do you get them where they potentially murdered someone who was naked?
Nah, they don't kill each other, but they do scrap. Not gonna lie.
All women fight. What I'm saying is we have a scenario where a transsexual man was filming a woman being beaten to death by another woman. Point to another culture in the United States where you see, hypothetically, that could happen. I can't think of one.
No, it is unique to our culture, man, and it's not. It's crazy because it extends across gender. To me, it's not specifically a woman thing. Black men do a lot of things that's similarly stupid to each other in America. I mean, I've seen fights take place because a dude looked at a Black man the wrong way, or it was perceived. And I've seen fights start like that. It is the culture. It's in our music, and there's no consequences because if you bring it up, if we were to bring this conversation up about how Black people talk to one another or treat one another, or even Black on Black crime, so to speak, you're automatically called a coon. So there's no way to even discuss this. Then when you talk about the music promoting it, then they say, well, stop hating on
it's crime by proximity.
Yeah, exactly. But then the problem with that argument, because it's like all these excuses, man. The problem with that argument is like, okay, you can say it's crime by proximity, but if what is it like if our community is making up 50% of the crimes or more, and we're 13%, that means that is disproportional to our population. Because you can't be 13% making up majority of the crimes. That means you have a cultural problem. And then we take these cultural problems to overseas. It's just like wherever we go, we take it to other countries and it exacerbates. And this is showed in front of the world. Because there's no way we can keep saying Black power, we are unified, when we just watched a girl get beat to death and there's a bunch of Black people recording it. but then we want to come home talking about Black Lives Matter. This is what's going to happen with the story. This is exactly what's going to happen with the story. It's going to be talked about for a couple of days and forgotten. And the reason why, I hate to say it, is because that girl, unfortunately, was not killed by a white man. I swear to God, if that was a white man or some white girl that did this, we will all be on the streets, which shows that Black people, it seems to me, that there is not a lot of self-worth or self-love with one another.
And T, I brought that up yesterday because I'm shocked how the 3 men that played football at the University of Virginia who were just recently killed, like no one's really talking about that.
Oh, of course, bro. It's just
like,
the
it's
race.
like you got three D1 football players who were murdered.
Like, it's the same situation, Dynast. It's jealousy.
Huh?
The same situation, Dynast. It's jealousy. People in our community cannot see other people doing better than them. It's crazy. Why can't people be congratulatory? Why do we always have to tear each other down? It sucks.
Can I say something really quick? And
yeah,
then
go ahead.
I'm going to bounce out. And I agree with Black Beauty. I agree with T. I wanted to say a couple things. One thing is our culture can be adapted. Dynast is trying to bridge this gap between us and continental Africa, and we can adjust the culture. We've adjusted it before. But I want to say specifically with regard to Mexico, because I did live there, some of the stuff that you were thinking, T, that's a version of what it's like in Mexico. It's not a lawless society, and it's not that easy to hire contractors to kill people. Does it exist? Yes. Are there cartels there? Yes. But it is, Mexico is one of the wealthiest countries in Latin America. Brazil and Mexico, those are the two powerhouses. The other countries are strong comparatively, but those are the two big ones. So among those group of countries, it's one of the wealthiest countries they have. Now, that being said, I did want to bring up something else, which is in Mexico, and I understand it's changing as well, but a woman of this age would still probably be living with her parents. And if she wanted to try to go on a trip like this, her father would have to co-sign it. She couldn't just go. And I'm not saying that the United States should implement something like this, but I am saying our whole framing in terms of Black America seems to be some form of adaptation of what the European Americans do with their families. And I don't think it works for us. I don't think it works for us economically. I don't think it works for us in a security situation. And I definitely, in agreement with Black Beauty, think it creates a dynamic where you can have these kinds of jealousies fester, and there's no kind of family or parental intervention with that young person to say, you're seeing this wrong, and you're seeing Black people wrong, you're seeing your sisterhood with Black women wrong, and your brotherhood with Black men wrong. You know, where the elders have some say to say, look, my grandfather used to talk about something called race men and race women, where there was a commitment among Black people to be of service to their race. Now, that was my grandparents' generation, but there's something that has been lost in trying to mirror what we see European Americans do. And I don't know what the process would be to try to more Africanize it, but I do think that Dynast's show is pointing us in the right direction to try to have more interaction, to have us imitate Europeans less and Africans more in whatever ways we can in our families. But, you know, I could be totally wrong about that, and I'll leave it to you guys to respond.
Let me, Prime Time. Go ahead, Prime Time. We'll pass it to Marie, then we got to close out. Go ahead, Prime Time.
Hey, how's it going? It's first time in this panel.
I
a lot of
appreciate
y'all
it, man.
were, yeah, a lot of you guys were on fire, man. Like, I'm usually trying not to be like an echo chamber, but like you guys are pretty much saying what I'm saying. It's like we all want to be united and, you know, stick together as Black people when outside groups harm us. But when we harm ourselves, it's like It's like people just, it's like, you know, N words die every day, B. You know, that's some New York slang, but I just find it really, I just find it extremely weird how, and the brother was saying, what's his name? T. Kelly. What's your name? T.
Yeah.
Bro, you were on point with the whole when black folks kill each other, we like to like say we like to like direct the conversation to white on white crime or what about other groups and everything. And I'm just like, do you guys realize black people, the black population versus the white population, we're close to 0%, right? So if we're close to 0%, we're 13%, they're like 60 something percent, we're close to 0%. Doesn't that mean our community is more dire needs of conversation more than white on white crime? Like we're losing our people, but we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to discuss it, but we want to talk about other groups, especially another group that's the majority of this population. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like when I hear a white person delete another white person, I'm not saying it's pleasant, but it's like, eh, at least their population is good. Our population is not good. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm surprised there's still more of us than Asians. Like, don't y'all think that? Don't y'all think like we're losing our people at a high rate than the other group? Like, y'all use white people as example, killing each other. Their population is good. If you hear two white people kill each other, they're still the majority.
But you
So
know, oh,
yeah,
go ahead, man.
Excuse me. No, you go.
No, well, what I was saying, and we know crime is not bad in the white communities. We know that because black people will move out of their own neighborhoods and live around white people. Like, I swear to God, I
Facts.
know so many black people.
Tyreek Nasheed.
Yeah. Yeah, I swear, I know so many black people who like, yo, I got to get out of here because there's too many black people. Like, I swear, and I know y'all heard that too, where black people say stuff like that. So we understand that there is a community problem. And it's crazy because, like I said, we talk about white supremacy so much, but we go live with them. Why? Because we know that the men in their community enforce some type of security measure, meaning you are not going to be able to run around do whatever you want because there is a security measure and an accountable measure there. When it comes to our community, it's the wild, wild west. It's a bunch of excuses where we cannot live amongst one another. And I'm telling you, man, looking at that fight and just seeing how old girl whooped that other girl like that, you know, one has to ask, you know, how was she raised? I'm pretty sure she was raised rough because for a woman to fight like that, she was probably fighting all of her life. I don't know what she's been through, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't pleasant for her to be that defensive, that masculine, and just beating up on her like that. And everyone watching, I mean, to us, it seems like that's normal. But we can't talk about what causes our women to be masculine like that. That's not a conversation we can have. In fact, it's celebrated.
I'm just waiting until the next time there's a black death around white folks. You already know people like in the shade room and all these toxic sites. You know what they're gonna say in the comments? Why won't black people learn not to hang out with them white folks? Okay, well, what about this incident with this chick? Thank you. So, anyways, yeah, this is why, and I live in it's not predominantly black, but there's a lot of black folks here. I live in New York City, in Queens. My neighborhood is non-black, and that's by choice, is because like, especially in the urban city areas. I'm not saying to say every single black neighborhood in the inner urban city area, especially and here in New York, but at the same time, it's just well known for the areas are known for single mothers. It's well known for dysfunction. It's well known for crimes. It's well known for lack of accountability. It's well known for victimhood. And am I saying the majority of black people that live in these neighborhoods are like that? No. The problem is that small portion is terrorizing the large portion. That's the problem. But I'm surprised nobody cut me off and said, "Hey, that's some sellout, cooners talking." I'm surprised that, but that's the truth.
No, we're not on that. We're not on that here at this channel.
And these areas vote. They still keep voting for the same people that's not in their best interest. Like these black areas are extremely hot areas for voting Democrats.
Let's pass it to Marie Shine. Then we got to close out. Go ahead, Marie.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Hello everyone. Can everyone hear me?
We hear you. Go ahead.
I just want to say that watching the video of the two girls fighting, it was very sad to me. It's disheartening and it was disgusting. And also about the three college black brothers that got killed. I feel like that's sad. That's very disheartening to me too. And I think it's because we lack self-love and we don't love each other. And I think that's very sad. Why are black women fighting like that? Like we should not be fighting down the street like men. We need to be more feminine, like, and stop stop being so masculine. Stop fighting in the street. Do things that's right. Same thing with black men. Why are we killing each other? I'm not saying all black men, but why are we killing each other? I mean, it's more to do in life than to pull a gun out and shoot somebody in the street. It's so much stuff to do in life. And I'm really getting tired of this. Like, I mean, I just don't understand. We can be practicing group economics, building our neighborhoods, traveling, even going to African countries, learning about our culture, our religion, our heritage, and things like that. And we're not doing any of that. We're just doing stupid stuff. And it's leading us down a road where we're just not going to be successful. I mean, other people, they're practicing group economics. You got the Jewish people, you got the Asians, they're practicing group economics. They have successful and prosperous neighborhoods. And then look at ours. I mean, it's just very sad. I don't want to keep, going on because I know Dynasty is going to close out, but I just feel like, our community is just, I mean, it's just really sad. And I just really feel bad for black women because we should not be doing these type of things. Like seeing that video, that's really sad. I would not want to do that to another black woman. I'm sorry. I wouldn't want to do that to anyone. So I just want to say have a good day, everyone. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, FBA probably can learn from that. We got to learn things from the African community. You got to have family, man, because for something like that to happen, that means there is no discipline in the home. That means you all your life you got away with doing whatever you want, and there's no consequences of it. So you could hurt someone like that and not even care because there's always either you growing up around that and see that and nobody checked you on that. Because I knew when I was growing up, there's no way I can be aggressive like that to another man or a woman without my dad checking me. And that's a problem. A lot of black people, the family structure is just devastated. And then we have a community that promotes it. It promotes men and women, especially in the black community, to be separate. We got movies that promotes it, even though they may not overtly say it, but the two prominent movies that came out where it's mostly black women, even though they're not attacking black men, you can see what that is. That stuff, that type of propaganda is toxic to our community, and it's just going to keep producing things like this.
We can't even have at least 6 months without a rapper getting killed. That is insane.
I know
Is bad enough that. Oh, sorry, you were saying?
Oh no, I'm sorry. You could go ahead, brother. I was just saying it's sad.
No, I was gonna say one more thing. Like we can't even have at least 6 months without rappers or some rapper getting killed, regardless if it's they're famous like Takeoff from the Migos or like an underground rapper. And it's like most black parents are not even raising their biological child together. Both the biological father, both the biological mother. That is sad. Even if it's not really 80%, it's still like over 50% of black children not even being raised with both biological fathers and mother. That just shows right there that everything you were saying about we don't love each other and everything, that's true. Absolutely. Now, do I personally
I have
give
a question
black
for the panel for you guys. I have a quick question for everybody on the panel.
All right.
How do you guys implement family control or community control without the use of force? If we agree that there's a level of dysfunction that exists, how do you combat that dysfunction and get that type of control without the use of force?
I don't believe you can, man. And I think other communities have that aspect of it. We don't know about it because it's not done in a public way, but I don't think that can happen because if you look at what's going on in our neighborhoods, if there's not a bunch of black men coming together to counter that, it ain't gonna happen. We can go there. I mean, we got churches, we can preach to them, but if we not actually going there in full force,
Churches ain't gonna do nothing.
it ain't gonna never happen, man. You're right. I don't think this way. There's
Well, I want to hear from the women real quick. I want to know the women's perspective because, and this is my thing with, and I hope the sisters don't drop off. I guess, oh, she's still there, but so the sisters on the panel, I just want to know because a lot of times that use of force is often patriarchal, right? It's often, we push the responsibility on the men. How do you think the Black women, that you guys come across on an anecdotal level will react to that, where Black men just stop taking nonsense from Black women and from Black men in the community who are just on dysfunction and and they use, communication, but if that's failing, they use force. I want to know from the women, how do you think the Black women will respond to that?
Go ahead, Black Beauty. We can't hear you. Go ahead.
I was gonna let Marie go first. I think that's a loaded question, Gaston. But at the same time, I think you have to consider the position that Black women are already in. Like, we are very good at following directions as it stands. That's one of the reasons why we've obtained what we've obtained. So I feel like the question you're asking, it's kind of like, okay, so the follow-up question from a Black woman, I guess, would be like, so when's that gonna happen?
But you didn't answer the question though before you give me the follow-up.
Okay, so the answer is, and I did answer the question, but in a convoluted, like, roundabout way. What I'm trying to imply by saying that we've been following directions is that when you look around at what Black women have attained without the assistance or without the support of a family unit, it's been a lot. And I feel that we can transfer those same skills to our community in terms of, if a man sets a plan that we have to follow, we're going to be able to follow it, right? Like, we're not a bunch of dummies. I'm just trying to say that. And at the end of the day, I really think that's what it comes down to. Like, there has not been a plan set. So I agree with you. I agree with you that, and actually, I think that in this country is going to be forced, because what's going to happen is these white people going to get tired of us fucking up everything, and they're going to smush us right back together with each other. And so it's going to happen. It's going to be a matter of force. Now, is it going to come from an outside authority, like another community or an arbitrary group and constituency? Maybe. But if you're looking for it to come from Black men, we need Black men to be organized in their thoughts and create some kind of plan that is followable and executable. But
wait, hold on, because we know that narrative, not to disrespect you, right? We know this narrative that you're saying. But what I'm saying is specifically the reaction, because you said something interesting. You said, oh, they do follow and they've achieved so much without assistance. But, if we look at it, they haven't achieved anything. What they've done is they've tethered themselves, to use the Tariq word, right? They've tethered themselves or hitched themselves to the government programs and government assistance. So whether it's affirmative action in the corporate world or it is a welfare policy.
You got, were you finished, Black Beauty?
I mean, yeah. I was listening for her.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Gaston.
Again, so I'm trying to understand that what would the reaction be of the Black women, because everyone says, oh, the men have to lead, and I gave this example, and I'll give this example again of why I think that's a BS argument, and this is my opinion, right? And I'll say it very quickly. We saw the young man from the Migos who lost his life, may he rest in peace. There are casinos that are built for rich people around the world to go and gamble safely. You put up your weapons. They don't even probably walk out with the money on them, right? It's all cash deposits now. Mm-hmm. Because these men and the women are so used to dysfunction, they will not go to that casino. They will not go to a high-end restaurant where you can get chicken and waffles. They will go to a place of dysfunction because that is what they're used to. Because when you are forced to go to a place that has structure and that is treating you good, that has been built, a proper establishment, now you can't go in there and twerk. Now you can't go in there and gamble dice on the floor. You have to do things according to rules and structure. And people who are used to dysfunction will avoid that by any means. So I am tired of people telling black men, oh, when you build, the women will follow. That is an absolute lie.
That's them. It's not a lie, because look at the violence in the community. The young women are following the violence of the young men. They're already following. They out here like some gangbangers, just like the young men. They beating young girls.
Hey, if I can
men.
interject real quick, gas them up. She has a great point, because even here in Atlanta, like I see the women getting as much or even more tattoos than the men. Just everything, they're emulating the men. So she has a point. Go ahead, Black Beauty.
Well, that's it. That's the point.
That's not a great point. What she's saying is that the emulated men. I'm not disputing about who's copying men. I'm saying that you guys just saw that there are examples of rich black people all around America, in particular in America, right? But around the world, but in America. And whether they're an athlete, whether they're a rapper or some sort of entertainer, they always want to go around places of dysfunction. Most of these guys are raised by single mothers. They are raised in dysfunction. So when they get old enough to get around establishments that have proper structure, they avoid it like the plague. Think of Allen Iverson crying about practice. Compare that to Kobe Bryant, who grew up with two fathers. I'm not saying he was perfect and he didn't have his issues or he didn't have problems with his parents, but he went to practice diligently. He took his stuff as a studious person would, right? Allen Iverson is crying about practice. And so what I'm saying is that people who are raised and immersed in dysfunction don't go to structures or places where they will have to behave themselves accordingly. They avoid it. So when we tell people, oh, if they build, they will follow, that is a lie.
That's them. I want to just make one quick point, and y'all could, Marie, you could go. I just want to make a quick point. Guys, them, for my birthday, I went to STK downtown. Last weekend, I went to a little liquor spot on Utica. Guess where I had more fun? Come on now. We don't always want to be around the uptights. Come on.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. I'm not going to Utica. I'm not going anywhere near East New York. I'm not going to pink houses. I'm not going anywhere in those places. You can go there and have fun. I can have fun around people who have structure.
I had the protection of a St. Vincent.
No, basically what you did, you put that man's life at risk. That's basically what you did.
He brought me from a place on.
And you should have told him, baby, don't take me to that location, in my opinion.
I'm West Indian and I love it. That's the point. That's the
point. Go ahead, Marie, because I mean, you just proved the point. You're going to go towards places of dysfunction. I don't know why.
Whatever.
Mr. Gaston Up, I do have a question. African women, they have don't they have traditions and rules and stuff that they have to follow because of their culture? I'm just asking.
Well, I'll be the first to throw Africans under the bus because they come to America and they're in Africa throwing their culture away. So I'm not one of those who's sitting here, yo, the Africans are doing so much better. That's a lie. Africans are mentally ill too. So don't think I'm one of those. I can't stand the Africans either. I can't stand that Afrobeats crackhead music. It's drug addict music. But go ahead, sister.
Wow. But what I was saying, I think what we need to do is go back to those traditions and those rules and things that we have to follow in the African culture, like our ancestors used to do. And I feel like that's what makes the Black community better. Well, what I'm trying to say is that, like, our ancestors, they had rules and traditions that they had followed. And I feel like we need to go back to those things too.
Oh, I agree 1000%, but that's why I said it's going to take force, right? It's going to take rules. I'll give you guys a perfect example, and I'll shut up because I know the people on the panel. Look, in my neighborhood, right, there's a lot of Bangladeshi people. If you come around my neighborhood, let's say at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, you will not see one Bangladeshi young lady on the streets. And if you do see a young Bangladeshi man, he's going home with his father after they've closed the shop down. That is what needs to be brought back. But that takes force. That takes male patriarchy. And that's why I was asking the two women on the panel, are the women that you know willing to accept and acknowledge male patriarchy? Someone asked me, what is a good woman? And I said, a good woman is one who listens to her husband. That didn't fly over well. They got offended by that. But that's what I'm saying.
Hold on, let me pass the judge. Go ahead, Marie. Don't pass the judge here. Go ahead, Marie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why? I mean, why get married if you don't want to listen to your husband? I mean, I just feel like, I mean, if the male, if he's the head of the household, and like, why don't you want to listen to your husband? If like, why do you want to get married if you don't want to listen to your husband?
This is
Like,
what
if
the
he's
title of the
right,
word wife.
Because it's
well, that's
YouTube talking points. That's not real, Marie. Any woman who's gonna get married, she gonna listen to her husband.
Now go ahead,
Now
Jughead.
you know that's a lie.
Go ahead, Jughead. Go ahead, Jughead.
Yeah, greetings, Dennis. Greetings, Black Beauty.
Please.
Greetings, Marisha again. Greetings, T Hadik. Greetings, guess about my brother. Greetings, let's stop deleting ourselves. Greetings, Primey, Tari 89. Sorry. Yeah, this topic, man. I mean, again, like we're all shocked about what happened in Mexico, but I want to know the family of the young girl killed. What's happening? What's the progress? Because these people, what's going on? Are they getting away with it? Has they been arrested? What's happening? Because I saw it on a post on YouTube yesterday, and I don't know the detail. What's happened to the victims' attackers? Have they been arrested?
As of last night,
They're still investigating. Oh, my bad. No, I was going to say that they're still investigating.
Okay, so what are the details? We saw a fight between, well, not a fight, an assault. Because she was fighting. It wasn't a fight; it was an assault. Two different things. We saw an assault by one person against another young lady. So this person doing the assaulting, the attacker, is she in custody? What's going on? Is she arrested? Is she investigated? Is she arrested? Who's been arrested? Because this is outrageous.
No one's been detained or arrested.
Huh?
You see?
No.
You see? But anyway, as Gaspar said, I'm in patriarchy. So we have a strong militia to impose discipline with love and respect. This will continue. Her brothers, sister, she got the brothers, uncles. Who's good at retribution?
She has a mom and sister, it looks like, based on the news reports. They've been the ones in the news. The mom and sister.
Okay, Black Beauty. Okay, where's the father? I mean, obviously, it wasn't immaculate conception. Where's the father? Where are her uncles?
It was immaculate conception, sir.
Anyway, look.
I mean, they're more focused on why and how it happened than the family members at this point, because she's gone right now. So I mean, we have to get to the family after we get to them doing the autopsy and everything. So
Dennis, did you guys on the panel see the video that just was running around recently? It was a black guy. I don't know if he was from Atlanta, somewhere in the South. He was married to they were in the army, and she set him up to get killed by her lover. The dude shot him in the back of the head. Black couple. I don't know if you saw that, Dennis. I'll send it to your email. Did you guys see that?
These rear gassing. That's I don't know what it is, but that's like common in the military for these extramarital affairs. I don't know why. It's crazy.
Man, she set the dude up and the dude killed him. Man, I don't know, man.
I've seen a similar video where I seen a black woman argue with some dude, and then I think the dude ended up spitting on her, or I think she spit on him, and then that dude went and whooped the husband that was standing next to her. But my thing is this, because my thing is, why would you even allow a woman to gas you up as a man? Because I'm telling you, I have never been with a woman who's been like loud and crazy in front of men, and I'm just sitting right there. They're typically feminine, and they're like, it's not even worth it. But if your woman is doing that, that means she has no respect for you. And then you got to ask yourself as a man, why are you dealing with her? Why are you dealing with a woman that has zero respect for you, and you getting gassed up and going to fights? It's like, where is the manhood in that, bro? It's like, to me, because and I'm pretty sure everyone in this panel dealt with women, but like if you got that certain mantra about you, they're not going to come at you crazy. You know what I'm saying, in public, man. So I'm just like, why? I don't understand when I see dudes get batteries put in their back and get whooped, I'm kind of more mad at them. Because I'm like, dude,
because we've been taught dysfunction is attractive. Look at Glorilla. Like, you got dudes who, instead of avoiding women like that or Lizzo, they'll tell us, "Oh, you're not a real man if you don't deal with them."
Exactly.
And it's just the nonsense. And then they get offended. So instead of them policing, they don't police those type of women, T. Khalik. The women in the community should be talking like, yo, we don't want no Cardi B, Glorilla representing. Let's get out of here. You don't, but they won't do that.
But
And
they
then
do, though. They
you're you
do.
know,
They do, bro.
Cardi
The
B shouldn't
toxic
even be
culture.
married. Like, it's just stuff like that. Why would a brother marry her? It's like, dude, come
Our
on, man. Like, we
community
gotta
has a
have a
fetish.
standard.
Our community has a fetish for toxic behavior.
I agree.
It is what it is.
I
You
agree.
can't change it. That's why I see these panels like, oh, I want to try to fix the black community. It's like, okay, cool. If you want to fix that 0.00000.8% of the black community, go right with it. Like, what do you mean? Nah. Not in a lifetime.
Probably, you're correct. Those with intelligence have to come together, separate from the trash, leave them behind. You can't save everybody.
Can't.
Leave the rest behind.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry.
I agree with that too.
But this is what I was saying. It's like, this is what I say about like black neighborhoods, black areas. Are most of them living in that area? Are the degenerates? Are they the criminals? No, most of them are not. But at the same time, there's enablers. And when I mean enablers, they will say things like the system, conditioning, post-traumatic slavery, white supremacy, racism, and everything. You kind of are enabling the excuses. You may not be doing it, but you're just giving them like, hey, it's not really your fault just because you have this skin color, or you're a bit darker or lighter. Just because you have this skin color, you have post-traumatic slavery.
Yeah. That's what you got.
I don't get it.
Coon credits.
Yeah.
well, because go ahead, sister.
Just because you're black, that's it. You're a victim. That's it.
But it's so funny because when I was walking down the block the other day, I was talking to my dude in Nigeria, and I was telling him, listen, this place would be better if this street was blocked off like how they have it. I think that's one of the reasons why we can't have like gated communities, especially in these cities, because all it takes is just somebody to bring in one of their homeboys, and then it's done. So it's like I agree with you, man.
Well, part of the problem is that there's no community control, right? When you talk to our people, it's the first, I ain't got to do nothing but stay black and die. That is the mantra. I ain't got to do nothing but stay black and die. So when you have that mantra or you have that mentality, when you saw that girl being attacked and beat to death, we've seen this, right? There was a kid in Chicago years ago who got beat to death on his way to school. No one intervenes. Like Dinus gives the example when he's in Nigeria and people are about to fight. Most of the time, what do people try to do? They try to separate them. But over here, we pull out the phones. We say world star, right? I always give the example. If there's a young lady in a community somewhere, she's, having an issue with an old lady, she might slap her and say, you crazy, I'll beat your butt, and film it. And it'll make world star and people will laugh. But in Nigeria, I mean, even though it's changing little by little, people will intervene like, yo, you can't beat up on grandma. Like chill out. But if you speak, next thing somebody got a gun. Yo, don't talk to my child. Don't talk to my cousin. I'm going to shoot you. And now you got to deal with this moron. So it's just like, how do you fix it when people have a mentality of just chaos? And if you try to bring order, no one wants to go along with the order.
Hey, let's pass the Bree. Sorry, Blabby. Bree Arian, go ahead.
Hi, I was just listening in to hear what point you guys were at this point. He can finish his point on
Okay. All right, go ahead, Black Beauty.
I was just gonna say to gas them, I pray that Lagosians never get hands on an adequate amount of handguns and weapons, because it's gonna be a shit show.
Oh, they're already shooting each other left and right. Go to Ajogo, I go to Lagos Island, they still shoot each other, unfortunately. When I was coming up, you wouldn't see a girl in poom poom shorts. Go to Nigeria now, they got poom poom shorts and bonnets on their head. They're following the.
Do you think that's a Western phenomenon? They are following what the West is doing.
Of course, that's what they're doing.
They say it straight to my face. They say, we love you, American gal, how you dress, and they dress the same way all the girls in Miami do. It's crazy because when I came to Lagos, I wanted to dress more conservative, but then when I got there, I was like, oh shit, well it going up right now.
But guess what though? The girls in the north don't dress like that. The Muslim girls, they know better than to dress like that. See, but you see all the southern girls and the people from the south of Nigeria who come on these platforms and yip yap about Africa and blah blah blah, but they don't have no control of their communities. Their girls are the ones going to Dubai and parts of the Middle East so people can defecate in their mouths. You don't see no northern Muslim Nigerian girl going to the Middle East so some guy can defecate in her mouth.
I can see what he's saying, because places like here in New York, there's a lot of culture here. So they're gonna fit wherever they're from. Like the Muslim girls, for example, they're gonna fit within their culture. boiling down there and everything. Even though, yeah, this city is known for dysfunction. It is, so I'm surprised I'm surviving this, but yeah, there's a lot of culture in this city so people can adapt to their own country.
When you mention Muslim girls, because I'm a Muslim myself, and at this point, Western, I'm gonna speak for the West. I don't know how it is in Africa, but westernized Muslim girls, they're no different, man. Like, trust me, man. I've seen them. You wouldn't even know they are Muslim unless they told you, and they're doing the exact same thing you think Western women would do.
Of
And a
course.
lot of
I
them are
agree.
embracing feminism. A lot of them are, and I'm like, well, then take that damn hijab off. Like, why you like if Islam is such a patriarchal, repressive religion, why are you following? Like, I never understood that, man. It's very weird to me.
Because it's manipulation, right? I don't make it a gender thing, but it's women like them. I hate to say it, Dynast doesn't like it, but it's manipulation. You know what I'm saying? Women typically like to manipulate. So, that's why I was pushing back about the idea that, oh, if the men build, the women will follow. That's a lie. Go down to the divorce court in any municipality. See all the men that built and see all the women that follow. You know what I'm saying? Those guys are sitting there crying with their hands in their head. Their heads in their hand. Yeah,
Look in the chat. There's about 8 or 9 women, and myself included, 10 of us who done follow Dynast to Africa. Come on now. I beg.
Yeah, no, listen, nobody's telling you that you follow Dynast Africa. What I'm saying is,
Women follow. We follow.
Again, no one is talking about you personally. I don't know you to talk about you. I don't talk about people personally. What I'm saying is that when we look at the images, when we talk about the anecdotal experiences that we're having, it's not a coincidence that the men are saying one thing and people are saying another thing. And quite often it's always the so-called elite men who are like, well, the women follow me. I'm a good high value man. So, but you can't just use you, right? And I always look, you have a poor man in the middle of Somalia who has a bicycle to his name, but he has 2 wives who love, honor, and respect him. He's not buying Birkin bags for those women. Why are they following him? So what it is this conditional, submissiveness that women in the West are telling themselves must exist. And so it just is what it is, unfortunately. But I posed that question earlier to you ladies because I really wanted to hear what the women would say from their experience dealing with other women. If men started to embrace patriarchal control and structure and no compromising, how would the women that respond? And you guys are saying that they would respond, but go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, when you say by force, what does that mean, especially in relation to women?
Exactly.
Aha. So let me break it down. By force means there's no compromise. It's my way or the highway. So you're gonna be, if you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom, these kids got to be A, B, and C. They ain't gonna be out there in the street at 8 o'clock talking about they a stepper. My daughter's not going to be out there talking about she's F dude free. They're going to be in STEM. They're going to be in some sort of math. Like there's structures, there's rules, and the last authority in that household is the father. I always give the example when I'm in Nigeria and I see the young mothers with the child. Maybe he's playing in the compound, and they say, "Hey, listen, man, your daddy's going to come home," and she said, "I'll leave him. When his father come, he going to get it." I don't hear that in this country. Because father is just hold on, sister, let me say this last sentence. Father is just a big piece of chicken and a Volvo engine in this country.
Well, that's because that's what he chose to be in this country. The reality.
Yeah, but sister, if you say that, and I'm glad you girls say that, that's a great thing. Not girls, sorry, ladies. I'm glad you ladies say that. Oh, that's what he chooses to be. But guess what? The minute a man resists and starts to put his foot down and fight, divorce court, he's labeled the evil patriarch. You can't win for trying. That's the problem. He's a misogynist. So you girls can't have it both ways. You can't, because listen, the truth is, if you want a man who's going to give you structure, he's going to be a little bit controlling. He's going to be a little bit dominating. You're going to get a little bit of benevolent patriarchy. And you can't have it both ways.
My thing is, but men can't have it both ways, right? They can't want to be it's my way or the highway, but then not have the ability to provide. I think most women, if they were really honest, that whole empowerment thing, it's kind of lame for us because it all blows back in our face, right? We're having to work and we're having to come home and be moms and do everything. But if we can't rely on our men to be the full-fledged provider, it's kind of impossible to say that you're going to completely give this man 100% control when you're having to come in with 50-50 or 60-40 or whatever
But that's an American assumption. That's why I gave you the example of the Mexican man who is selling elotes in California, right? He has control in his house. You look at the Bangladeshi man or the Pakistani man, or you look at other men of other cultures. And I'm not saying that it's perfect in those societies. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they have their problems. But what I am saying is that there is a general understanding that the father is the last sole authority in the dynamics in that home. That doesn't exist.
But what we're talking about, that man who's selling elotes, right? What is his wife doing? His wife is usually not doing anything much greater than him. Black women are the most educated group in the country right now. So it's kind of hard for us to say, yeah, you know, my husband who is making maybe a fraction of what I make, and I'm not saying a blanket statement. There's a lot of Black
No, that's a great point to make. That's a great point to make.
You know, it's kind of hard if you're going to be, as the Bible says, unequally yoked with someone, and then they're coming in to put the iron fist down, but you still have to work like a dog or be the mule in the relationship still. So,
well, that's a great point. Let me tell you what the issue is with that point. You're 100% right, and I think that's the real thing. If women, like you said, she accepts the level as to where her man is, the elote woman or the Uber driver's wife or the truck driver. Well, truck drivers make a lot of money, or the plumber's wife, right? Or whoever. They accept the level that he's at. Unfortunately, and this is where you have to see the ingenious schemes of the government. The government comes in and does what? So-called empowers our women. What they're really doing is they're putting the women in the position to not look upon their men favorably. So there's nothing wrong with the women making the money, but then my question is, perhaps they have to reorient themselves and say, look, just because we make the money doesn't mean we can't be under the jurisdiction and authority of a good man, a well-meaning man. That doesn't mean you out there in the club, but a man who, let's say you bring the finances and he puts the money towards valuable things that the family can use and utilize, right? That's one. Two, again, if it's to be a stay-at-home wife and the man, then you have to accept whatever your husband's income is, that's what you're going to manage. You can't be sitting down there upset. And I'll say this last example. The BMF, right? Big Meech. I saw the documentary on Stars. They showed the episode, right, where his mom and dad had a divorce. I'm not talking about Big Meech's mom. I don't want no problems, right? Those guys are gangsters. I want no trouble. But she says, oh, I still love my husband after the divorce, but I find it very, very convenient. As soon as that husband was out of the house, her two sons became the biggest drug dealers. Now, I'm not saying that she pushed them to do it because they go, oh, you hate women, you're telling them. But I am saying as soon as that father who would have said, son, I don't care if you're poor, but as long as you're working hard and you got to load bananas on a crate is better than you being a drug dealer, that is what a father would push his sons to do. As soon as the father was out of the picture, those two boys had to be the man of the house. And ironically, they became the biggest drug dealers that we've ever seen. So that's the problem. People got to learn to be satisfied. Does that make sense, sister?
Absolutely. And I agree. I feel like a lot of women and men are chasing way more than we actually even need, right? Yes. Everybody wants that high value, quote unquote, that tired conversation, right? Amen. But I do think there is a lot of poison in the media and, you know, in the government. I agree with you on that aspect, that there's been a lot of poison against Black men to hold Black men back and, yes, destroy the family unit. But we have to work from where we're at right now. And, you know, maybe I'm jaded in my experiences. I've seen a lot of men who have worked hard and, you know, whether it be through school or through a trade, do great things. But I've also seen a lot of men who have relaxed in trying to get the easy money, the fast money, feeding into what the media says. And I think it goes back to what's taught at home, as you said. And unfortunately, our family units have been broken down for centuries now. So how can we fix that problem?
Well, the thing is, that's I don't really like, you know, going back and forth with women on this, because really, I agree that the men have to put some type of forcible measure on it, but the men aren't even unified. Like, Black men are not even unified by this. Like, we were just talking about women putting batteries in dudes' backs. Like, you got to understand, if black men are validating that behavior and still dealing with those women, then what incentive are you giving women to change? Like, I look, and I've been around black dudes. All they do is talk about having sex with women. There are dudes that y'all probably have in y'all's page who do nothing but post celebrity women, or half naked women, or looking at Instagram models. Their whole lives is chasing women, and then when they holler at girls, the first thing they are doing is just offering money, just things of economic value to have sex. What do you think that does to a woman's head? It does not tell her, well, I want to, be submissive underneath a man. No, you big up her head. And that's why dudes talked about going to foreign countries and getting women, because the men are disciplined in those countries. The men are not disciplined in this country. That's why, I hear people say, well, if you get a girl from Africa or South America, don't bring her to America. Why? Because the men are going to act thirsty and change her mind. So until you focus on the men, things aren't going to change. We are wasting our time. And yes, I do believe that the women are going to follow, because what's going to happen is once men get it together, especially black men, we're not going to deal with these type of women who we complain about. We don't care how they look. We're going to leave them to the side. That's what you do if your men are unified, but we're not. We're not. We see black men are killing each other, being jealous with one another. We got black rappers dying all the time. Our communities, there is no masculine structure watching it. So it's just like, I just feel like, man, we waste our time, going back and forth with women on this issue. If the black men want to change it, we just got to unify on it.
But T, you're right. But the problem is that look at our template of masculinity. The template of masculinity in America is feminine in nature, right? Like you look at, for example, the way, just to put an example, the way the UFC fighter Habib Nurmagomedov and his people act with each other, right? They act as a collective. They train together. They do business together. They really have this brotherhood, right? And I don't see black men, even in my experience, you don't do that. You get around black guys, they looking down on you. You a bum, you this, you that. Oh, he got money, I got more money than him. This is how black men treat each other. You go to a club with black guys, and it's everybody, yeah, them dudes over there. This is the mentality, and it's a very, in my opinion, feminine mentality, because, oh, I'm not no B. Why are they quick to prove they're not a B? Because all they've been around are Bs. And they know that deep down within them, that all they have is feminine energy, because that's all they got from their mothers. And so they have to do everything in their power to kill. And it's the wrong template of masculinity. Masculinity is not the number of people you can kill, or if you a stepper, or if you a gangster. It's what can you, like they say, what can you build? I always, when I meet black guys, I say, yo, what's your portfolio? And I'm not asking your economic portfolio. I want to see a list of other black men and young black guys that you've helped in business. If you haven't shown other black guys how to set up a C Corp, an S Corp, LLC, how to get their insurance right, if you don't have that type of portfolio, I don't really want to rock with you, because you're just the selfish, typical black guy. That all it is okay, I'm gonna just look at what you're saying. I agree with you, brother. Look at how Jay-Z was giving deals to those guys on Rockefeller. And look at the type of contract Suge Knight was giving people. This is what we have to deal with as black men. But nobody sees a problem with it. You know what they say? Oh, you a man, you should know better. How am I going to know better when you gave me a contract and you shook my hand? It's The Rock. It's all love. But you giving me the worst contract. I might as well just go stay with Massa and sign my life over to him. Look at Don King. Look at how Don King destroyed Mike Tyson's financial career. Before he had other people from another group, and Mike Tyson had no problem financially. As soon as he gets Don King, what happens to him? Then the vultures come. Then he gets Robin Givens and all this other nonsense in his life. But when he had those other people around him that had structure and discipline, Mike Tyson had no problems. So you're right. It is us as black men. We don't treat each other good. We have this feminine nature of competing with each other. And I'm sorry to say, if you're a black man competing with another black man, it's feminine, in my opinion.
Yeah, man.
Well,
And
where are the elders? Where are the elders to step in? That's my question, because I feel like a lot of these quote unquote celebrities, the things that are being preached to the young black boys, It's not even coming from the mother, it's coming from TV. It's like that search to find out who they are, and they're looking up to the wrong examples, which is why they're going out and killing each other and not focusing on building the community, building family.
Well, this is why I like these panels, because really, I do like that Black men are finally talking. And like I said, I'm not a sexist or anything, but I only really join these panels hosted by Black men because I kind of want to hear the solutions and act on it. Because the thing is, I think far too often, as Black men, we're too concerned about what the women are doing. And granted, yes, there's a lot of problematic behaviors coming from the women, but I feel like arguing with them and trying to change that, and the country that we live in that economically benefits them, is just a waste of time. It's just an uphill battle. We've seen Kevin Samuels and them trying to do it. It gets you nowhere. And the thing is, I feel like if you can change the mentality and the mindset of Black men, stop having Black men being so jealous of one another, have Black men work together. Like, Black men we don't even work together politically, man. Like, it's frustrating how Black liberals and Republicans and independents can't just come together and say, hey, we're all having the same issue. What can we do for our community? They over here calling each other coons, fighting on TV. You got a white network, either it's CNN or Fox News, and they will put a Black conservative up against a Black liberal, and they just fighting and yelling at each other. That is embarrassing, man. And it's just like, even our Black-owned news networks, like, well, I'm gonna say fake news because we don't really have any Black-owned media. But you even got places like the Breakfast Club, like, okay, this is where Black people listen to. Why aren't y'all bringing Black men from all sides to talk and try to come up with solutions? That is the problem, man. And it's just like
women, T, they'll bring on Umar and Farrakhan maybe once every 2-3 years.
Exactly, to look woke or something like that. But there's a reason why I understand why Black women are elevated. And I can't get mad at Black women for taking that. If you're getting things that is elevating you economically, nobody's going to turn that down.
But T, can I ask you a question, T? T, let me ask you a question, and a slight pushback. Because, women like, and no disrespect to you, but women like to hear what you're saying. They like that narrative because they never, are put on the hot seat. They jump off of it very quickly. But I'll say this. If we look at the community of people that we can't say the 3-letter words, right? They experience some of the, one of the most worst brutalities that ever existed. You never once heard their women say they're divesting. You never once heard their women say that, oh, we don't want those men because they can't protect us. They never said that. Even in the U.S. here, in their communities. Hold on, a lot of them, well, let me finish this stuff. A lot of them don't get married according to the state. They do their traditional marriage, and the women will go on public assistance right here in the East Coast. They'll get on public assistance while their husband is a very, very wealthy professional, doctor, lawyer, or whatever business he's into. But those women never turn their backs on their men. With the worst, one of the worst that you can think of. Same thing with Somali women. I'm just saying.
Hey, brother, I just want to say this. I am not like pro-feminist. I want to make that really clear. I am like pro-Black man getting his stuff together. Any Black man who stands on his own, I'm always riding with them. I don't believe in the word toxic masculinity. I believe that is designed to, cut men's balls off so they can't have that masculine voice to fix the community. They are too scared to speak. So I just want to make that clear. I definitely hear what you're saying, that the women may agree with what I'm saying, but I promise you, I'm not with that feminist stuff, man. I am. No,
I know what you're saying. I was just saying though, but that's the
pushback. Go ahead, Black Beauty. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead.
Hey, Gastem, I want to tell you, I'm in New York City, born and bred. You know that. I've always worked around small hats, and what they have told me, the men that I work around, because I'm in a masculine field, what they have told me is that a lot of the young J women, they don't want to marry J men anymore because they don't want to have the same experience that their mothers had. I've been hearing this for the past 15 years. A lot of these young women of small hats, they literally marry out. They marry other white men that are not don't have the same restrictions religiously. So
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying let's be honest.
I'm being honest.
And I also want to say, for the most part, when you said the hot seat, my rebuttal is, quite frankly, why would you want a woman to be on the hot seat? We're not made for that, sir, at all.
I don't know about that. I'm sorry. Listen. I'm an Isoko man. I didn't grow up watching weak women. No, I'm not calling anybody on this panel weak. I grew up in my village. Women go to the farm and they bust their butts. The Iyaludes run the markets. Dinus knows that. The women that I grew up, they didn't sit there and cry. They didn't ask for Valentine's Day gifts. They was tough as nails. But what I'm saying is, you guys are dodging the point I'm making. Those people went through one of the worst things you can experience as a people. You never hear their women say they're divesting. You never heard their women say, oh, they couldn't protect us, and their women stood by their men together. That's all I'm saying.
You know what it sounds like to me, and I'm sorry, Bree, if I interrupted you, or Marie, because I know y'all want to go, but you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like y'all want us to not only mule, but do it with a smile. And
yes, do it with a smile. Yes, be a mule. Yes.
Well, guess
I agree. I agree. Be a mule. There's nothing wrong with that.
Guess what? I can't do it because my back broke already. Sorry.
Okay, then hey, listen, we push you to the side. No need for it.
Okay, let's go ahead, Marie. Go ahead, Marie.
Okay, I'm sorry. The thing is, I think we need to stop worrying about what other communities are doing and focus on our community, because we're the ones that's in trouble. I do agree that we need to start doing something different, because look at the Black community. Like, I was raised, even though I was taught that the man is supposed to be the head of the household. That's what I agree with. We do need to do something different, because obviously what we're doing now is not working out. So I don't care what white women, Jewish women, Mexican women, what they do. We need to focus on our community. I'm sorry. We need to focus on our community, having more Black families, having more the Black marriage rates to be higher because they're low. We need to do that. We need to focus on that. That's just my opinion.
All women want to do, gas them, is get pregnant and clean up them house and plant plants and cook for them babies. We don't want to do nothing else. So you do the rest and we go follow.
I don't know. I don't know those type of women. I didn't grow up with those type of women. The women I knew are mules. The African women I grew up around are mules. I like mules.
Well, I don't know how everybody grew up in the Caribbean, but I know that like my aunts and them, they had helpers. So
hey, I like mules.
But Gaston, yes.
I'm sorry, Bree. I just wanted to ask, are you a nurse?
Yes, I am.
Oh, cool. I'm a nurse too. I just saw your RN at the end of your name. Sorry, I just want to say that.
Thank you.
No, and the thing is, America pushes female empowerment, and the way they do it is in the detriment of men, because it's kind of like they push it in a way where they're attacking men at the same time, which is why you see a big gender divide in the Black community. And the problem is you got some Black women and Black men playing into that. The reason why I focus on Black men, because I feel like when we perpetuate what the mainstream media says who isn't Black like us is destructive towards our community. Such an example I'll put is Derrick Jackson. Now, if any Black man listened to Derrick Jackson, you knew that he was pandering. You knew what he was doing, because you understand that as a man, if you are talking to women and you're taking your shirt off, you know that is a sexual gesture to the other gender. And you're putting yourself as this pedestal man. I knew what he was doing the whole time, and I knew it was going to be a fraud. But because it comes from a man, it kind of sets the stage that this is what Black men are supposed to be. But the problem is that he was doing the exact same thing that he was accusing other Black men of. And that's the problem I have, because these Black men like that, they get a lot of Black women around them to listen, and then they behave like that. And then it kind of puts a sour taste. Well, dang, how can I listen to any Black man if they're acting like that? And that's the problem. I'm like, yo, we're so concentrated on trying to have sex with women. We are going to these lengths of even lying. And it just makes it all look bad.
That's what, listen, T, Derrick, go ahead, sister, go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to respond to you about that whole mule comment, because that's exactly what I was saying before. You guys want to be the, protector, provider, have the last word on everything. But then we're also supposed to go to work, come back home, do everything for the household. women are not property, and in the past we were seen as property. Yes, that is very true. But when we're supposed to be more evolved today in the 21st century, right? We're not supposed to be sitting back and basically having a man put his foot on our back at the same time. That is essentially slavery. I thought
A foot on your back can also be a massage, no?
No,
But why?
no.
A foot, no, hold on,
But
right? A foot
why?
on your back can also
But
be a
why?
massage, right, Marie?
That sounds crazy.
I'm a Bigfoot
That
man.
sounds absolutely.
But why?
I'm
I
sorry?
mean, why should we work full time? Why can't we work part time and not work at all, or not work at all?
Because
I
he
mean, I'm
can't
just
pay,
saying
can't
because
pay the
I'm
bills.
sorry, I don't want to work full time forever. I want to work part time or something like that.
Exactly. And
That's
to
just
the
me. I
person
don't
in the
want to work.
chat, I
He
am
can't pay the
Africa.
bills.
A woman's duty is to take care of the household, but
Okay, if that's the
to
case,
go
are you
out
guys
as
willing to
well
cut your
and bring
consumption?
home the money. You know, I
I agree with you.
to reside in our womanhood, and I am not a feminist. I don't agree with feminism. I believe I'm for women. I think that women have lost touch with their womanhood by becoming so in tune with the work, go, 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 because we have had no choice.
But
Because
sister, African women have always worked. Like I've said this on Dynasty panel many times. Look, this idea that women never work is a Western thing. Remember, the idea of a housewife was invented. African women have always worked.
being at home in
Gas,
the
if I can,
home
inter-
is a lot of work.
if I can interject real quick. So, like Asimov said, in Nigeria, the women run the markets. In Ghana, the women run the markets. In Sierra Leone, the women predominantly run the markets. The only place that I've been to, the only country I've been to where the women don't necessarily run the markets is Senegal, Tanzania, Zanzibar, and I really didn't see women really running the markets in Benin. But everywhere else, the women run the markets.
Dinus, I have
Now,
a
those women ran the markets, and they still. Don't. Why are you worried about what the men are doing? You see, that's a Western thing. Why you?
Before you made a point about the Mexican man, the other cultures of man, them not
Yes,
making
sister.
much money, but their wives are also not doing that same level of work. What they're doing in the eyes of their wife is far greater.
But can I tell you why? Can I tell you why?
Sure.
Gas them up. No, Bree, the women in a lot of cases out earn the men, but there's still a level of respect and patriarchy in the home.
But
that's one, and
because the women in these markets are making money.
Yes, but when they get pregnant, Dinus, or when they're not feeling good, they can step back for a week or two or a couple months because their man got it, right?
No, they step back. No, that's not how it works, because they step back because they have the family support. But keep in mind, sister, you gave the example of the Mexican family. The problem is consumption. If you want that, what the Mexican woman has, then you have to look at her consumption habits. The Mexican woman is not having a hot girl summer wearing red bottoms and Micah Mary bag. I don't know none of these fashions, so you can tell I don't care. I shop at Costco, so that's the problem.
I agree that people are setting their size a little too their eyes a little too high, right? We all can't be hot girl summer, and that has nothing to do with patriarchy versus matriarchy. In my mind, the men want this patriarchy though, but they want the women to be the footstool. I don't understand that concept.
Hey, can I ask a question, Gaspar? Because I'm not familiar with Africa, but is there a gender pay gap in Africa?
I'm pretty sure there might exist. Okay. I don't want to talk out my neck. I'd have to do the
reason
research.
I'm saying that is I think that, and look, this may sound sexist, but I mean, I don't care how much a woman makes. I personally don't care, but I believe that pay gap, if there is a pay gap, it does put the man as a more of a provider role because he's always going to make more money than the woman. It's not like that in America.
But you got to look at the unemployment. T, here's the thing. You're right about that, but also keep in mind, Africa has extreme unemployment. So a lot of people aren't getting their money from the state, so they have to create businesses outside of the state, right? But look, here's the thing, sisters. If we're going to be African, you have to take the time, pick whatever culture you want, and look at the historical narrative of these women in the cultures that you want to choose, right?
I want to be a high level African. I don't
wait. Hold on, sister. Let me tell you. That's good. You want to be a high level African. So let me tell you what it was. The women who lived the life of leisure typically were the women of the elite chiefs. But a lot of times, not every African man was walking around as an elite chief. So if that's what you want, that's fine. Go ahead, get an elite chief. But the majority of women historically in Africa were not sitting down there eating bonbons. They were in the fields. And funny enough, if you look at the reason, one of the Lugard, who colonized Nigeria, he said the African man has for too long exploited his woman and put her to work. So he must be made industrious. And when they started taking the African men from the villages into the cities, they created the hut tax. The women were the one, the Aba Women's War, go and read up on it. They revolted, one, because they didn't want to pay tax, two, because they were taking the men away from them. So if we're going to be African, let's be African. Let's not be puritanical. Let's not be Victorian. The Bible is not our template for how a man and woman should behave. They're in our languages. They're there. The women had a role. They were strong. So I'm not saying a man should sit at home and play video games while his wife is working. No. But what I am saying is that we have to understand, regardless of what the woman makes, there is still an understanding that with love and with understanding, this man is the head of the household. He is the final say of authority. Not because he's there saying, shut up, chick, the chicken's cold, and he punches her in the eye. No, because that's the extreme everybody runs to.
And
Hey,
that's
can
what
I
I'm trying
deposit
to learn right
something?
now. Oh,
Can I
oh,
deposit
sorry.
something? And because I don't want to mess up the chemistry this panel has, and I just want to put something right in the middle of both arguments that I want you guys to expound on. But you look at the #1 website in the whole entire world right now, and that's Pornhub. On Pornhub, there's over 1 million white women doing all types of stuff, licking out of bowls. Uh, y'all know what they doing. They doing all type of stuff. But because those women are on Pornhub doing this stuff, white men are not saying, well, our women are on Pornhub doing this, so we can't run the world now. They still running this world despite what women are doing. And so I agree with you, Gassima, even having to agree with Lord Lugard that, our men have to become more industrious and we got to get it together. We can't worry about what the women are necessarily doing. But I'm going back to the audience, y'all. Thanks.
Yeah, I think women are hardwired to follow. I mean, and they may disagree, but I think it's a security mechanism when there's a lot of money involved. And the way the American system sets up, it does set up that mentality. I mean, that, destroying the gender pay gap. And like I said, I don't have opinion in it either way. But if you have women making equal or more than a man, it does kind of destroy that protector and provider dynamic, because if she's making more money than you, you are no longer a provider. Therefore, you can't be useful to her. And like I said, the America set it up that way. That's why I asked if Africa has it that way, because if that pay gap is there, then I can understand more why a woman would probably want to lean on a man more. But it just seems like in America, if you have a lot of money, especially as a woman, you can have a nice house, a nice car, you can travel, you can pretty much do anything a man can do. And it does create that mentality as far as what do I need you as a man for? I'm not saying that's, their fault. I believe the government is more responsible for that. And then followed by the media that pushes feminism and telling women that they don't need a man.
Look at what our black women were watching. They were watching Living Single, then they watched Girlfriends, right? Look at what they put, look at the media, look how what the media gave them, right? So it's problematic.
God damn, why
But everything's not about money though. That's the problem. Everything is not about money. What about just, I'm not saying that money is not important, but everything is not about money. So you just want to be single for the rest of your life because you can't find a man that makes more, or you know what I mean, or equal. I'm just saying, like,
but that's what they taught them.
Everything is not about.
No, guys, that's not the truth.
Okay, well, I'm speaking for myself. Everything is not about money. I want a partner who we can just pay the bills and stuff like that. Everything is not about money, Because if you're just focusing on money, just money, like I don't know. I just think
No, I
that
agree with you, sister. You're right.
And
I
guys,
agree
that
with
I
her
wanted
as
to tell you.
well.
And
Nobody,
guys, go ahead.
most women aren't looking for a millionaire, and the chances of us meeting one is quite slim.
Slim
But we're
to
looking for
none.
exactly. We're looking for someone who, as it says, a helpmate, right? Somebody who brings their share to the table. We're not
Well, no,
looking.
the man is not supposed to be the helpmate. The woman is,
Well,
according to the
unfortunately,
Bible.
But
let me tell you
if
something.
I'm your helpmate, doesn't that mean that we are in this together? Doesn't that mean you're helping me too? We're both trying to achieve a similar goal.
yeah,
Do
I
you think
agree.
Moses? Do you guys think Moses or Aaron or any of the men in the Old Testament would hear that and say, "Yeah, I'm her helpmate"? They're like, "Listen, man, she's following orders and instructions." Now, I'm not saying any. That's why I'm not a Christian. I don't care for anything Abrahamic. But look, T, I get your point. You're right in the West, but that's what they teach the women. It's finances. So basically, T, what the conclusion I would draw is basically Western women have conditional femininity and conditional submissiveness. So if the man is bringing a certain amount of money, then he will get a certain level of cooperation. But here's the thing, T, economically speaking, if you study the economics, and I know you're a smart guy, realistically, specifically for black men, where are they going to get these jobs? Think about it. The system purposely will hire a black woman for these jobs. Where are black men, the average black man who whatever position, where is he going to get the chance to be able to really provide? The system isn't doing that, so he has to turn to entrepreneurship. So realistically, he's already kind of behind the eight ball. It's very difficult for him to be in a position where financially he can make enough so that Bree or Marie or Black Beauty can say, "Oh wow, my husband has everything. He got it." What most black men ain't in that position.
That's sad.
Well, I'm a frugal person. I mean, I only can speak for myself. I'm not the type of person that cares for diamonds. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like diamonds, but I don't need it. I'd rather for us to invest that money. Like, I don't need a big wedding. I don't need red bottoms. I don't need an expensive car. I'd rather invest that money so we can retire early. That's my thing. I'd rather take the money, invest it, and then we can take care of ourselves when we get older, because when we get older sometimes we're not able to work, and so I'd rather take that money and invest that money. So I'm a frugal person. I don't know about anybody else. I'm not the type of person that really cares about, I don't have to have a man that makes a lot of money.
I
So I
think
mean,
y'all are the
that's just me.
minority. I think y'all are the extreme minority. If you deal with women, no, that whole "I need my man to do this," no, y'all don't date women, so I think y'all no. If men are saying something, that comes from experience with women. And yes, there's a certain type. Look, I'll be honest with you, men, we are visual. We want the sexy looking woman with the curves. And I'm not saying none of y'all women
Speak
are.
for yourself. Speak for yourself.
Speak for myself. Yeah, I'm just saying.
That's
I want the woman who has the brains.
Yeah, but no, for me, looks matters, because if I can't sleep with you, how am I gonna have a family with you if I'm sexually?
My children can't eat looks.
So I can't. Yeah, but yeah, I'm just saying, me perfectly. If I can't have sex with you, we can never have a family. It just can't happen. And men are very visual. So
What about earning potential?
No, but what I'm saying is this: if you talk to these women, I mean, you hear a lot of BS that comes from them. And then you can kind of draw that conclusion. Well, the most part, you have to be financially stable. Yes, when you talk to these women, but at the same time, even when you become that, the man still has to take hold, because what a lot of these men do, sadly, is that when they get a woman who is beautiful and whatever, they become real beta. They start chasing her validation. They want to know what she is doing all the time. They're just throwing money at her instead of seeing what type of feminine traits that she brings to the table to deserve that. They don't even know how to say no. On the first dates, they are going to the most expensive restaurants. Like, I even knew a dude like that. Spent all this money thinking, well, I did that because I thought she was going to have sex with me. It's that type of mindset right there. It's like, you make all the money and then you throw it at the women, and then you all of a sudden expect them to submit. No, it doesn't work like that. Stop doing that. Let them earn it. Like, that's the problem.
Uh-oh, the women ain't gonna like you when you saying that now.
Hold on. I just want to say something and go back a couple points, but also this relates to what T just said. I think we're talking about the talented 10th, because I think before we talk about men that are making upwards of millions and millions, we need to talk about the fact that there is a lack of ambition and drive amongst the majority of the men in our community. We're not saying be millionaires, but why do we have to be okay with you achieving the base level of achievement in this country? Aspire for more is all we're saying. It doesn't mean that you have to hit these accolades that are unachievable by most people, but it does mean that in order for us to pay this mortgage without me having to break my back so I can raise your children and cook every night and massage you and also go to the gym and also get my hair done, also get my nails done, clean the house, read to the children, teach them math, that takes time. And so you have to pay the mortgage because I'm not going to work. So you got to make enough. And 42,000.
No, wait, but sister, here's the thing. See, that's you, but here's the problem. What you just said.
You do too.
No, I know, but listen. I'm not talking about you personally. What I'm saying is this. What you just described is the number one issue, right? You want these things, and so when you compare it to other, let's say like the Mexican women, not all, of course, because you have high-end Mexican women who are making a lot of money and their husbands and whatnot, but as opposed to that expensive mortgage, look, man, we're going to have to downsize. We might have to stay in this one bedroom, and we might have to do A, B, and C for the first few years if you're going to live off my income. And that's the problem. And that's why I gave you guys the example of the BMF documentary. The Big Meech and his brother, their father was a musician. He was working hard, but obviously there were times where the gas might not be paid. The lights might be cut off. Hold on, sister. So now she was like, I'm not trying to do this long term. They get a divorce. As soon as they get a divorce, the sons become the biggest drug dealers. So what I'm trying to say is that unfortunately, if the woman is not willing to really uphold that for better or worse, there's nothing a man can do.
I got an inverse for you now, sir, because what you just said, now I got the rebuttal, right? The rebuttal is this: we get married and you can only afford the one bedroom. I'm okay with that. But now as a woman, I'm going to say, because my daddy taught me well, that right now we can't afford a family. Please don't try to get me pregnant, sir. I can't have 2 and 3 of your babies in this one bedroom. I'm going to need you to upgrade this one bedroom before I have your children. Now, is that wrong?
Nah, you're not a good woman. You need to follow my instructions. I said we're getting in this one bedroom until,
We can never win. Even when we agree to his one bedroom.
Yeah. It seems like a rock in a hard place.
It is a rock and a hard place, but that's the point. That's the point. There's no painless decisions. If you choose to be with a black man in America with the way the system is structured, you're gonna have to deal with some pain. You might not have the gas on for 2 months like Big Meech's mom, and it's even better now. I mean, the technology is alleviating those things.
You're not dealing with no pain with Dynasty Mirror. The gas will be on. Ain't no gas or bills.
You see, and look at what Dynas just did, T. You see what Dynas just did? Dynas just did what the typical black man has to do. Oh, not me, sister. No disrespect to you, Dynas, but why do we black men got to do that? You see what I'm saying, Dynas? Look at that, T. It's the unnecessary competition.
Ain't no gas getting cut off over here, bro.
I didn't say that your gas is cut off, but you see how unnecessary the competition is. Because now when you do that, Dynas, when you do that, what ends up happening is then you create the narrative where it's like, oh, well, my man ain't nothing. I'm going to go be with Dynas. You see the narrative you create?
So you asking me to come to your one bedroom when Dynas got a 10-bedroom enough for me, Bree, Shy, and the women in the chat?
Good. I agree. Then don't complain. Then don't complain and cry. Hold on, sister. But then don't complain and cry hold on. Don't complain and cry when Dynas has more than one woman and he don't have time for you.
I don't care. I already told Dynas I don't care. I'm outside. I don't care.
Okay. Well, you know what? I came to accept this dynamic. Women are going to always want a man who makes more. And like I said, I think that's biologically rooted in the protection mechanism of them being the physically weaker race. So if you are a physically weaker race, you are going to seek the utmost security in the best man. So I come to agreement with that dynamic, but at the same time, I believe, yes, there are some certain qualities that women must have in order to attract a man like that. It's not just because you want it, fine, but then what qualities are you bringing to the table as well? And I believe that's how Kevin Samuels blew up, because he's like, okay, we accept that. And I accept that too. I think to try to debate a woman down, on that. I think that's just a losing battle. They're never going to touch it. It doesn't
But see,
matter
if that is
what
the
race.
case, if it's biological, then how do you explain non-Western women who didn't have this idea of a provider mindset? You have numerous examples of non-Western women who weren't sitting down there waiting for a man to provide for them. Like that narrative is a very European construct. Do you understand that? In my opinion.
Well, yeah, no, I understand. I think the only reason why a non-Western woman could accept that, because like I said, we are in a first world, very rich country. So unfortunately, the women are going to they are going to have higher standards. It's just where we live. That may not be the case of men of other countries in poorer countries. They're going to have to go with what they can get in that economic frame that they live in currently.
So then it's
But
not
just different in
biologically
America.
inherent. So then it's just not. Then it's not biologically inherent.
Yeah, what I can say is if you give women access towards money, as we can see in the West, different from other third world countries, they're not going to stick to that gender role dynamic. They're just not, and that's a more of a consequence of the Western government. Like I get that.
Women are not looking for money as much as we're looking for comfort that money brings. So in that example that I gave before,
So go get it yourself.
But but now you want us to work now. So which one is it?
Yes, Shaka Zulu's wife didn't ask him for a Birkin bag and Brazilian hair, lace front. Shaka Zulu's wife did, and if she did, he would tell her, go get it yourself. I got you this crawl. I got you 2 cows. That's enough.
Most women aren't asking for a Birkin bag. What they're asking for is comfort. So if I have to be in your 1 bedroom on top of you with 3 kids, or I could choose to be with another gentleman, even if he has multiple women, and where I can have my own space and dwelling to be comfortable and collect my thoughts, I'm going to choose that because that's more comfortable on my daily life. It's not even about money.
Most black men don't have that comfort that you're talking about. The system doesn't allow it, economically speaking.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not giving that much power to no system or the
Thank
man.
you, Dynasty.
I agree.
Of course, Dynasty's the exception. He got to do. Dynasty come with the Superman cape on.
I can't give a man or a system that much.
And then you expect a woman to submit to you. That doesn't. We're not built like that. You can't be a victim to the man and then no. You know what I'm saying? And I think like with Gastama, a lot of times I agree with you. Today I do not, because what you're saying, it gives the impression that as a man, as a black man, you don't have to be ambitious. You can just be whatever, be the bare minimum, and that's good enough in life. That should not be good enough for you as a single man. You should always be striving to be better in life. You cannot sit, a woman cannot be 300 pounds like, well, you're just gonna have to take me just as I. No, we know that. We have to go to the gym. We have to look this. They do
That's
this.
a lie. What about Lizzo?
But she don't got nobody.
No man of substance is attracted.
No man is going to ever take that.
No man of substance is appealed by Lizzo. Maybe because she has wealth, but for the most part, men have standards, and that's healthy to have standards. Women have standards too, and there's nothing wrong with that. We cannot come to you guys, smell funky, all kind of stuff, and say, hey, accept me as I am. You look at us like we're crazy, but you have this idea that no, man, y'all don't have to do nothing. But the women, as you said, we're mules. The women, where are you getting this idea from?
No. See, hold on. No, I didn't say that. So time out. Listen.
2022.
Hold on, Chrissy. I didn't say that, but I didn't shy away from it. What was done was it was said, oh, are we mules? As if I would back down and say, oh, no, you're not mules, innocent women. I don't back down. So I said, who cares? Yeah, you mules. Get over it. That's what was said.
Yeah, but that's, you're saying yes, you're mules. I mean, come on now. Like even what you're saying, I don't know.
You don't have to agree with it. Remember, Chrissy, I'm not biblical. So again, most of the dynamics of where people are going to depart from come from a biblical reference. So where they'll say that, oh yes.
Just because something is, and I want to clarify this to be African, just because something was African doesn't mean that it was good. Everything our people were doing was not a good thing. Something needed to be changed. Some things were toxic. We have information. We are supposed to be progressive. We are able to compare where the world is smaller and look, and as my mother would say, pick sense out of nonsense and see what work and what don't work. We're not living like Shaka Zulu. Okay. Nope. So, I mean, just making these jumping around throughout times in history and making these comparisons is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not. It's not crazy, Chrissy.
Hey, Gasso, I just want to thank you, bro, because you allow the women on the panel to come on to have this great discussion, bro. So I thank you for that. But I wanted to ask you this question too. Given the male to female dynamic, and I'm being serious with this question. Do you think that women wanting men to do better and going for the best men is good? And I say that not to be a simp, but I'm saying you typically men who achieve high things, great speaker, do new things, typically get the pick of the most women. Does that inspire men? One of the things that inspire men to be better, because take, for example, if women didn't have that biological wire in them to where they go for men who are great, who do big things, what is the point then? Like if a man can sit on his butt, you know, play games all day, not inspired to do anything and still get a dime, do you think that is good for society, or especially in the Black community where we're not really building anything? Do you think that will create like laziness?
Yes, and that's one of the problems of why we have young boys who are growing up.
I can answer the question.
That's silliness. You know, we're talking about Black male role models. So why would we choose men who can't be that for our sons? Go ahead, Gassim. I'm sorry.
No, well, listen, look, I get what you're saying. Of course, in the modern sense, right? As Chrissy said, we live in the modern world. It is what it is, right? We've been colonized, so we have to accept it. But for me, as I've been accused of being an idealist and looking at it from an intellectual perspective and historically, that's why I just question certain narratives. So realistically speaking, what the brother is saying, is that good? Keep in mind, brother, you know, nobody in our culture, for the most part, was sitting down there running around trying to kill themselves. Why? Because they took a more lackadaisical approach to life. Now, that might be, you know, part of the reason why we've colonized and other things. And I'm doing some research. I'm going to do a show on my channel later today, and I'm going to have a series on this in terms of African state building. But the answer to your question, T, is it depends. When Lugard came to Nigeria and said, oh, I have to colonize these people because they're lazy, when they asked the Native American, I don't know if it's true, the anecdote, but they asked him, they said, you've seen the white man system, you know, you've experienced it, what are your thoughts? And he sat back and he said, before the European man came to the Native American lands, the water was free, buffaloes ran wild, the medicine was free, the native man spent all day hunting, all night having sex. And he looked up and he said, only the white man was dumb enough to think he could fix a system like that. So for me, at least ideologically, I long for that, where I'm like, look, yeah, I'm busting my butt, I'm grinding, I'm sitting here, you know, day trading, I'm doing everything that I got to do. But I don't have to put my life out there for anybody to see. But the point is that I know that it's not something that historically my people did. My people didn't take that approach. That's why I give you guys the example. Shaka Zulu's wife wouldn't ask him for a Birkin bag, wouldn't ask him for long Brazilian hair. He would tell her, go get it yourself. And what the women are they're trying to have it both ways. And you're right, I'm not going to win the argument with them because they're going to avoid it. But the truth of the matter is that you can't have it both ways. If you want a man to provide and do that, you have to learn to live within his means.
That's
you can't
fine,
tell him.
But nobody's saying they want Birkin bag. Where are you getting these stereotypical tropes from?
I think you're feeding into too much Gassim.
No, I can look at
shade room stuff that he be watching.
No, it has nothing to do with shade room. Don't push it away, because if you sit down and you look at the consumption habits and you look at consumer debt of Black people in America, you'll see the pattern that I'm disclosing and what I'm talking about. Just take the time, guys, and research it. Don't forget me, right? I don't know what I'm talking about. Just research the consumption habits and the spending habits of Black people in America. Research the gender consumption habits and the credit that the people are spending, the consumer debt that's all following. You'll see that there's a problem there.
I just want to say that every culture, women spend money and time beautifying themselves. So if we're going to go down a rabbit hole of the types of things that Black women spend their money on, so you not only want us to mule with a smile, but you want us to look like shit too? I'm just asking.
As long as I think you're beautiful, as long as as long as I think you're beautiful, why are you worried about what anybody else say? You come home to me, right? I put my foot on your back and massage you.
Because even the beads that go in the Wadabi even the beads that go in the Wadabi woman's hair cost money. Gas them.
Again, nobody's debating about that. What I'm telling you is you made the example of the guy not having whatever in this. I'm saying as long as that man feels you're beautiful, Go home to your man and submit to him. As long as he's not abusing you, mistreating you, and he's treating you good, and he's doing the best that he can, why are you stressing? You got the best of both worlds. You got a good man who likes you, who cares for his children, who's studious. Yeah, he's not making all the money that you think, but whatever. He's a good dude to you. And that's the whole point.
Well, that could be the dilemma with men in America, though, because if he is affording a comfortable life for his woman, and she is so used to the American, I can do whatever I want, get whatever I want. She can easily leave him for a better man, and unfortunately, the system is set up that way, to where it can kind of create that mindset in women where they really don't have to submit, even though if they find a man, they really don't have to. And the divorce courts even support that, really, because if you get married to a woman and you are a man with means, she can take half. That is a major problem right there, because it's really, how can you truly say you are a leader when really I believe the woman has all the keys once y'all are married, because she can financially bury you.
All you got to do is hide your assets in the trust.
I think that's sad, but why not sign a prenup, like a prenup?
Well, they can be contested. Prenups can be contested. So fellas, if you don't want your woman to get your money, first start incorporating your businesses, get them in a C Corp, and then start getting your trusts, right? When you set up your trust, of course, you have to pay your administration fees. Hide your assets in the trust. You can, if you trust your brother well enough, put your brother to be the administrator of that trust, and you administer his trust. So that way, when she wants to, meet the Puerto Rican yoga instructor with the 15 inches down to his ankles, she can't get it done.
Most what he just said does not apply to you. That's for wealthy men.
That's why I'm gonna say, ladies, don't you dare work for his business unless he pays you. Don't you dare do it.
But I think that's still sad, like that you have to take half of everything. That's terrible. I think that's really terrible, and that's why a lot of Black men don't want to get married. Because
but it's men in general.
What Gastama said is not true.
Shit,
that's not accurate. That exactly. Thank you. That too. Okay. Most people are, even white people, are middle income people. There's no half to take. When you get into a marriage, the two of you are bringing assets. Most women in America are working. They also are working with the same money that the men are working. So it's not half of your stuff. It's half of the both of your stuff. If that's it, everybody gets an equal share. But the whole idea, which I've heard, Black men don't want to get married because of that. Stop living vicariously through men with wealth. Men with wealth have to worry about these things. If you are a middle earning man, this is not your concern. You don't have the dollars in your bank account to be concerned about this level of wealth and the C Corp. And this is fantasy. For most Black men in America.
T, hold on, exactly. T, you know what this is why I'm saying, T. Look, no disrespect to the women on the panel. Women, I'm sorry to say, this is proof. I've said this all the time. There's zero emotions, right? It's just cold calculations. She has no empathy. She has no empathy. Obviously, I said that tongue in cheek, right? Of course, you're going to run with it literally. But this is proof. They have no empathy. They're like, oh, that's a rich man's thing. You got to just marry me and shut up. Look, if you guys go along with this, I wish y'all all the best, man. But go down there, incorporate yourself, put your assets in a trust, get a blind trust, trust your brother, get some good legal advice. Not legal advice, right? But go online, get you a trust, get you a C Corp, hide your assets, and tell the woman, listen, if you're willing to come to the table and we negotiate and we put this in contract, we can do that. If not, don't fall for it, because guess what? When the divorce court, when the judge goes there, he doesn't ask you to split the amount of love you had. He asks you to split the assets. He asks you to pay the alimony.
No one's paying alimony if you're working.
You're
where
saying
are you
that
getting
you're
these
gonna hide
ideas
your
from?
assets from your wife, who's supposed to be, as you said, your helpmate, right? Where's the emotion in that? It's the double speak for me.
Oh no, I can tell you what the emotion is.
It's funny
And
because, like I
emotion,
said,
none of the men on this panel are in that situation that Gaston has created in his mind.
But you don't know. You don't know.
Y'all
You
are
don't
in
know.
men circles.
I
There
mean, I
aren't
don't want to
any
speak
man
on
who is
anybody's
happy about the
finances because I
court
don't know
systems.
anyone's personal situation. But
No man likes the court systems.
Yes,
None.
we understand that no man likes the court system. We get that. But what gassed them up is saying, this idea of the women where I come from, they work, they're the mule, and be happy being the mule, and all the other kind of jazz. And then it's like, oh, but there's no emotion. See, the women are not emotional. There's no empathy. But you didn't sound like you have a lot of empathy for women, period. So,
Of course, but Chrissy, why are you armchair? First off, this is armchair psychology. I don't know you, you don't know me, so let's not do that, right? Let's just focus on the ideas that we're saying, and let's not, well, you ate chicken on Thursday, and your grandma's a babalawo and all that stuff. That's what they do on other shows, right? It's talk show stuff. But let's focus on the ideas.
The
When
only
you
emotion
lady,
that a mule can have is downtrodden.
okay, great, but at the end of the day, sister, look, listen. If you guys are telling men to not do what I'm saying, they don't have to. They can do whatever they want. Everybody's free. But I'm just, again, giving some suggestions to say that, listen, man, women will tell you they love you. You don't know if she loves you. You don't know, right? Just like she doesn't know if you love her. So everybody should protect themselves. So the same advice I would give to a woman, put some assets in the trust, right? Keep some throwaway money in case that guy wakes up and, he goes to the strip club and bubbles, tickles his, neck, and he doesn't want to come home anymore. Protect yourself. I'm not saying not to do that for women or men, but what I'm saying is that, like the brother just said, the men are the ones. Go down, ladies, take your time. Go on a Friday if you get the day off. Go down to your local divorce court, the municipality court, and just look at the looks on the men's faces, and then ask them to see their wedding pictures 15 years beforehand, and compare the looks on the man's face. Right, the face he had when he was getting married and the face he has as he's walking out of that court, it's a whole different face. So to try to make it seem as if gas them up as this terrible person, it's okay, I get it, right? But at the end of the day, when I say there's no emotions, it just is no emotions. There's no empathy there. It's basic. Go ahead.
We don't know who's at fault in those
You're
marriages.
seeing only from the man's perspective.
Exactly.
Because if you see those women too, nobody in the 21st century is getting married to get a divorce in 10 years. Those women
Exactly,
are
and having
broken
children.
as well. We work just as much as men do, right? So now when we have the choice to marry a man, yes, it comes down to how much a man can provide. And whether that means all or 60-40, whatever that looks like, that's up to that woman to decide. But also we're looking for love, kindness, and compassion. And the compassion piece is something that I'm not really hearing on your end. And maybe I'm not listening close enough. But I just feel like
no, I'm just not. I'm not gonna. No disrespect, right? I'm not gonna speak the way most men. Most men are taught to speak coddle speak. So when they get around women, they have to censor themselves. I don't censor myself, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying that they're wrong. But most men typically, because the first thing they'll do is they'll throw the accusation. I hate to use Kevin Samuels, but the shame, insult, guilt, and need to be right. So they'll say something like, "You love your mama? You love your auntie? Oh, he must be gay. Who hurt you?" And it's all this nonsense. And it's just like, look, forget me personally. Let's focus on the ideas. As the brother is saying, men don't like to go through what they go through in the court system. Is that a reality? Yes. There's a lot of men who are more hurt by the court system than there are women. That's just a fact. So until you ladies sit down there and observe, and maybe it might not hit home until, God forbid, it's a brother of yours or cousin of yours or heaven save your son goes through that type of treatment in the court system from a woman that he thought he once loved, then you might understand, you know what? Yeah, I should have told my son to put his asses. But I'm sorry to say, Brother T, some women, and this is why I said there's no emotions, you know what they'll do? They'll still say, well, just be a man. That's just being a man. Just be tough, cry, and accept the abuse. That's basically what they're telling you.
Women also don't like to get cheated on. They don't like to become single mothers. They don't like to feel like they're used sexually. So it sounds like it's on both sides. People are hurting people to me. It's not the men are the victims and the women are the predators. On both sides, there are people who are hurting people. Let's choose people based on character first and foremost, men and women, and that evades a lot of the problems that you're referring to. And I'll also add, in the way you speak, which to me personally, I think is very cold. Women don't like to be spoken to in a very rough manner. That's anywhere in the world. Now, there's
they gotta be
some
tough.
when women have no choice but to
they gotta
deal
be
with
tough.
that. Women have no
Get
choice but
tougher.
to deal with that based on their economic standpoint or the society in which they live in. But women don't like to. We're not animals. You
Then
understand
keep
what I'm
them in
saying?
that same
Strategically,
economic
I'm not gonna.
standpoint.
I think Gasserup is right about the men censoring each other because strategically, I do understand the dynamics differences between men and women. When I do talk to women, it's not that I'm self-censoring myself. I'm being strategic in the way I talk because there is a difference. Because yes, you're right. That is the difference. That is masculine when men are up front and what they have to say. That is masculine, and I definitely understand that when I'm talking to other men. And at the same time, that tough love aspect is more of what gas them up is why fathers are needed, because that tough love aspect is needed, because really being shown tough love is good because it has you avoid it from someone else who doesn't love you, because the person who doesn't love you is going to punish you harder. But I just want to say this. I think women should, I think it is helpful towards the community. And y'all may think so simply to want to get men who are doing the best they can, because it does inspire you. Because if you're a man sitting around depressed and you have no woman and you're fat and you're not working, you cannot blame women. I think it's biologically designed for men to be inventors, to men be great, because the women are supporting you. That has to happen. Otherwise, society will come to a halt. Now, what America has done with the laws is, and I'm not blaming women for this, I'm blaming the government, is they made marriage kind of like a financial incentive for women, because we can't lie and act like the reason why men are not, we are the only ones saying this, because we're the only ones really going through the ringers in the court. That's not the woman's fault. That is the court's fault. And it is
As the
kind of
government,
messing up
yes.
that gender dynamic.
But T, look at this, T, very quickly. You just said something very profound. You said tough love, right? Can you imagine if the women you dated, if their fathers would talk to them with just 25% of the energy that I've been speaking away on this panel? How different do you think? The problem is
from a
that these
culture
women,
where the men
hold
are
on,
in
Chrissy, let me
charge
say the
and there's a lot
sentence.
of tough love.
Chrissy, let me say my sentence, please. The problem is that what women think is a man is a big piece of chicken, sex once every 3 months, and a Volvo engine, right? That's what most women think is a man. They don't understand that a man is, like the brother said, you're going to speak how you speak without censoring yourself, without fear. And a lot of times, most women don't hear their fathers talk the way I talk. I haven't said anything abusive of women, killed them, beat them, stabbed them. I haven't said anything. I've just been tough. I've been firm on my position, and I haven't backed down. They're not used to that. What they're used to is they'll just rub his back, tickle his balls, give him some sex, give him some food, play innocent, cry. That's what they're used to. And those things typically make a man's heart melt. My heart ain't melting because I don't come from women who do that. I saw women strong. So I push women to be strong. That's what the difference is.
My dear, I come from a culture where the men are very firm and upfront, but they don't talk to women as if they're a piece of rock or a piece of cement. You know what I'm saying? Just your whole stance is honestly, is not a term I use very often. Toxic. And that is not a term I use. You're toxic. I'm sorry. I have to say it.
That's
Most
your
of what you
opinion.
said
But
is
that's
very
your
toxic.
opinion.
Even
Do
your
you see how,
idea that women are
Chrissy,
like tickle your balls and all that kind of stuff. You don't know what's
Chrissy,
going on in most women's minds.
Chrissy, do you see how instantly you're matter of fact just trying to give an analysis and a prognosis? Do you see that, Chrissy? You're just trying to diagnose.
Didn't you do
You're
the
not
same
a,
thing? You
no, but
diagnose
T,
women.
do you
They're
guys,
tickle their balls, have
T, do
sex.
you see? I never diagnosed this woman, right? And I won't, because I have respect for her. But do you see what women do? She's trying to diagnose me away because I haven't said anything that was cement like, that was harsh. You're just not used to it, and I get it. If you're not used to, chicken, you can't make a person who's used to vanilla all of a sudden like chocolate. So I understand. If it's not for you, that's fine. You don't have to pay attention to gas them up. But there are women who listen to what I say and follow me. That's
Very
all.
good for you. Very good.
Well, the
I'm
thing
sure they're
is, yeah,
mastermind.
there is a difference. That's
And T, go ahead, and then we're gonna close out.
Yeah, I know when I deal with women, like I really don't like arguing. Like I said, because you won't win. Like I remember I did that. I was in my emotions and I was up till 5 a.m. I was like, damn, this was a waste of time. There is a way, a strategic way. We have to speak with women strategically because there is a difference between a primary difference between the masculine and feminine. Yes, when we talk to men, we need to talk to them hard because the world treats them as hard. They're not going to have no sympathy. So yes, We got to talk to the brothers hard to wake them up. I am 1000% agreement with that. That's how I learned to be strong. That's why I'm not sensitive and crying all the time, because I know the world does not care. And that's just what it is. With women, I believe if we want women to come around, we can still hold on to our ideals, but we have to be strategic in talking to them, because if we talk to them in such a forceful, brash way, they're not going to listen to us. And then they're going to listen to the feminists, or they're going to listen to the liberal media. And the liberal media, they know how to talk to women because they caught them. So I think as men, we just have to be strategic when talking to women. We can get our point across, but I say try not to sound too, well, me personally, I try not to sound argumentative while still holding my ground to my beliefs.
All right, with that being said, hey, everyone, make sure you go and buy the documentary In Search of Uhuru. Please go to searchforuhuru.com. Again, please go to searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. This documentary is inspiring people to go to the continent and visit Africa. So please go to searchforuhuru.com. If you are watching this and if you have not bought the documentary yet, please go and support, buy the documentary. You stream it. You can stream it on any device that you want to. It's not a rental. It is yours forever. So again, please go to searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. Y'all, we're headed to Sierra Leone on Sunday. I am looking forward to it. Until next time, family, Dynasty Search for Uhuru. Peace.
Peace.